Hey, we live now, really.
Hey, we live now. Really? Really? Can you see me? We live? What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Gems Media Podcast. This is a podcast? I don't know. Golden Gems. Well, welcome back with Golden Gems Media. I don't know. We were just here, right? Did you watch the Shador Sanders video I just made? Did you watch the Stock Wednesday video I posted? I'm just saying. Anyway, make sure, before we get started, hey, make sure you send this to your mommy, your daddy, your best friend, of another friend. Let Johnny, let Timmy. And don't forget about let Susie too. Make sure you send this to everybody because you can't keep all these gems to yourself because that's selfish. For real. Stop doing that. All right. So make sure you send this to everybody. I include Lil Susie and Lil Josh. And you know Lil Josh just moved across the street from Lil Susie. Got to make sure he's getting these gems too. All right. Make sure everybody getting them. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. You understand me? But regardless though, how we doing out here? How you doing? That's the real question. No, seriously, how you doing? All right. Yeah. With the updates that I have for you with this Nolan Wells case, man, it seems like I can't get away from this case. It seems like every single day something new just ends up popping up. And it's like with something new popping up, you know I gotta pop out and tell you about it. So with this Nolan Wells case, man, it's been some new developments. Yes, it's been some new developments. And with these new developments, you gotta understand. Um, yeah, it's not looking pretty for a lot of folks, man. It's not looking pretty for a lot of folks. And with it not looking pretty for a lot of folks, man, that boy Bart, allegedly, that boy Bart, yeah, he might have to come down to the front of the congregation. That boy Bart, I ain't gonna say too much, but you involved in this case one way or another, whether you want to be or not. And we own you like white on rice, Bart. But you know, those are things that allegedly, we're not, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not threatening anybody. We're just seeking justice. So Bart, Warren, Wyatt, all you guys, yeah. We just, need y'all to come down to the front of the congregation today. That's all. Okay. Is that okay? All right. But anyway, Nancy Grace, she's on it. She's on the case per usual. Let's hear from Nancy. Nancy, what's going on? Please tell my audience what's going on. Talk to the audience, Nancy, for me, please.
For your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was on, no, I didn't talk to her once. Like it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I never.
Which is it?
I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, well, none of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody.
Hold on. First of all, ain't nobody say you looked at anything. Why you sure is rambling about this phone, my guy? Interesting.
Took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
That is from the Officer Tatum show. He has interviewed several of the young men that were on the boat when Nolan Wells was taken to Horn Island. They say he was not on the boat on the return trip, although audio seems to suggest otherwise. Listen to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources call.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
Every time I hit.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
How far the water coming up?
What'd you say? Hey,
Nancy, go keep on playing.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
She a real G.
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
We're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag
unless
on
you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at
Particular phrases in that call, if it's to be believed, Nolan don't die. Sure, he's dead. Is he dead? Nolan, OMG. Wake the F up. It goes on. I thought he was on the check his chest. That, if it's to be believed, suggests that Nolan was on that boat. Tatum says the witnesses are clear. He was not on the boat. Tonight, we learned in the last 24 hours, the Nolan Wells family hits social media giants with subpoenas for all information related to Nolan's phone.
Rightfully so.
First, straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Then we will be joined by Brandon Tatum. Dave Mack, what's happening?
Right now, Nancy, the family of Nolan Wells has announced that they are going after, they have subpoenaed documents for Nolan Wells' phone. They've gone to the media giants like, TikTok, Instagram, the Meta companies, everybody that Nolan Wells used to push out videos of what he was doing and pictures. And they're they believe that some material was deleted from Nolan's phone. And this is what they're trying to prove with these subpoenas, to get all of the information, as well as, by the way, the location tracking app, Life 360. So you got Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, and Life 360. All of this, the court documents already filed, Nancy.
Nolan Wells's family slapped subpoenas on multiple social media giants seeking his account information and data. This into the investigation of the teen college football player's mysterious death. They were issued in the last 24 hours, including Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, Life 360. And these are according to court documents demanding the companies turn over all materials, info related to Nolan's accounts. This includes current and prior usernames, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, even displayed names. They want IP addresses associated with every account, all communications, chats, posts, stories, and info. His cell phone has become a critical issue in the probe into Nolan's death. What happened to Nolan? Now, his mother, Christine, says when her son's phone was brought to the family, they had concerns because there were no pictures or videos on either of his Snapchat accounts. Triggering their fear, items may have been deleted. That's what's happening. There's been a lot of controversy. Were photos, were texts deleted? Were snaps deleted? We've been trying to figure it out, but we're seeing through a mirror darkly. We don't know. But according to experts, a trail will be left if anything has been deleted, even if you delete it from the deleted file. Now, joining us, special guest, Brandon Tatum. You know him well. He's a former police officer with Tucson PD. That's what impresses me. What impresses a lot of other people is he is the star of The Officer Tatum.
I don't even want to show his whole face.
Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us tonight. Question to you. You interviewed, as we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends.
Only two, miss.
Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death. And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island. They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is consistent with, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube.
How come you are so broad, my guy? You're saying they showed me stuff. What did they show you? They took pictures. They showed me pictures of the boat getting towed. Yeah, we saw them, and you posted it. So yeah, we saw that. But no, you want us to really believe that? Do we look like Boo Boo the Fool? I know, some people do, but I don't think most people do. But anyway, tell us what you know then.
YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason that there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day, like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything, not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception. But you're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat.
What does that mean?
I didn't have great reception there. And I left my phone in the boat when I got into the water and we were actually going out to do interviews.
Oh, that's what? I got there and I left my phone in the boat. Bro, what? Bro, we don't care about what you said. We're talking about the boys. I got there and I actually did this and I.
Objection.
Thank you, Nancy.
Objection.
Talk to him, Nancy.
You've been in court long enough to know you're going to get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but you wasn't going to upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes. But it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had 1 or 2 bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the CETO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question.
Please, Nancy.
I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
We just played that Seatow call. It's 2 words, SEATOW, and it's kind of insurance that people have that are boat goers. And if you have a problem, Seatow will come and tow you back to the mainland. They said they had a problem. They said they were taking on water. One of your takes is that all the chatter that we're hearing, wake up, Nolan, are you dead, Nolan, wake the F up, Nolan, could be referring to the battery, the bilge on the boat, that it's all unclear. Regarding the boat being disabled, apparently it was not. Listen.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
That from the Real TikTok Detective, the boat wasn't sinking. They told Seatow it was sinking. What's the truth? Was it sinking and they repaired it? Did they have a leak and they repaired it and kept on SOP? Brandon Tatum joining us, former cop, now star of The Officer Tatum. Did the young man explain those travels we just identified?
Did he?
Yeah, 100%. They did that. I wish that people on the internet would have had an opportunity, and they can go look at the interview that I did with Warren, but they had an opportunity to actually talk to these young men to get this in perspective. Because some people have no idea how boats function and how they work. They explained to me, they took me on a boat and showed me exactly where they went, where they docked, where did they, stop at, how did they get the bilge pump and the water out of the boat and all of the above. So they were sinking, they were taking on water. The water came up high enough that the batteries weren't working. They had to get a tow to kind of tow them out. Where you could see the young lady saying about 3 miles out. It's a complicated boat jargon, but they ended up getting the boat out.
You trying to get them to keep up with their lie too. Why are you fumbling over your words? If they told it to you so crystal clear and you talked to 4 of them, all of them should have had the same story. He should have had the same accounts, right? Oh, okay.
They ended up getting it to the point where they could run the boat, run the water out of the boat through a hole in the boat that they ended up plugging. They explained all this. Anybody that does boating know exactly what they're talking about if you hear them explain it on the interview. So they have an explanation for all of these things. And not only that, Nancy, they showed me video of them on the boat, and Nolan was not on the boat. Nolan was not on the boat log, and there are people who saw Nolan on the island closer to around 6 p.m., which is far after they left, far after this phone call was made. I saw text messages from the young lady that Nolan was with, young lady named Katie. I saw her text messages. In her text messages, she say that she heard the boys yelling for Nolan to get on the boat. He did not. She said in her text message that she did not see Nolan get on the boat he came on, which was Wyatt's boat, which is the boat that was sinking and they ended up leaving on. So it wasn't just a statement that they made on a podcast. They were actually showing me evidence to the contrary of what the mainstream YouTubers and some media outlets are putting out to people at large. And so I wish that people would go watch the interview or at least take some time to listen to these boys' statement. And I'll say this, Nancy, too. I wish that the family would have taken the time, or at least Benjamin Crump would have taken the time to reach out to the lawyers or reach out to these young boys to get their statements so they're not wasting their time sending everybody on a rabbit trail when they could have just talked to these boys. And they could have, but they refused. Because I saw a message from Warren where he called Nolan's mom twice. I've seen messages from Warren's stepmother, Ashley, where she sent Nolan's mom a text saying, please reach out to me whenever you're ready. I would like to talk. Other parents I saw messages from who reached out to Nolan's mom saying, we need to talk. Can we talk? I'm available if you need to talk to us. I do not understand at this point why Benjamin Crump would go out and put misinformation out online when he had the availability to talk to these kids and clear these things up like I did before he presented this to the public. We also reached out to Benjamin Crump 4 times. And on the 5th time, they come back and tell us that the family is not doing interviews. We didn't ask to talk to the family. We asked to talk to the attorney, Benjamin Crump. Why? So we can come together as a community and solve what happened to Nolan Wells, not create and stoke division, which is what I've seen
Mr.
from
Tatum,
Benjamin Crump.
That is exactly what we're trying to do. And I hear everything you're saying. And, I think like a prosecutor, my main goal is to find the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. And one thing I cannot get away from is the medical examiner. I'm trying to get to tonight's news, which I'm going to get to. But, you were seeing a video from WLOX. Speaking of sinking, is at an alleged issue with the boat bilge. Well, Randy and Bunny on TikTok have their interpretation of that. Watch this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
That from Randy and Bunny on TikTok. Joe Scott Morgan, very quickly before I can get into why the family believes they need subpoenas to social media giants to get the truth about what happened to Nolan's phone. Anybody can say anything after the fact. Those boys may be innocent. They can look like choir boys, angels now, but I still don't know what happened on that boat. And I still see conflicts. Can they be reconciled? I hope so. But until they are, we're on it. This is what I can't get away from. Control room, please show Joseph Scott Morgan the autopsy diagram of the victim's occipital bone. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. I do not care if an archangel lands on this anchor desk. If he lies to me, I'm using handcuffs for his wrists and a rope for his wings. You hear me? Look at that again. Put it back up.
I didn't get that analogy.
He has deep reddening subcutaneously on the back of his head. Nowhere else. It's not on his neck. The back of his neck anyway. Don't see it on the back. Don't see it anywhere else on the body. So I really don't want to hear a lame explanation that it's lividity of the blood sinking to the back of the body. Number one, the body was on its face. But that said, they kept the neck and the lungs to see if he drowned, neck,
Neck.
Why would they keep his neck? I can't get away from this, Joe Scott Morgan, and I don't care how angelic the friends appear, and they may be angels. I don't know that yet. But you can't get away from this, Morgan.
Yeah. No, you can't, and we can't get away from it until the investigation is concluded on the part of the state medical examiner's office and the authorities. And in Mississippi, and I can promise you this, as the day is long, they're not going to release this information because it's an ongoing investigation. I know everybody wants it. Now, what we do have is a second view. We've got a second set of eyes on this from a highly accomplished forensic pathologist, I might add, former chief medical examiner for DC. And he went over Nolan's body very, very thoroughly. And he in his statements relative to this area states that he cannot make heads or tails of it at this point in time because it's compromised, this area I'm referring to in the occipital area of the head, because it has been compromised through decomposition. Now, he did a multi-layered dissection. And what that means is layer by layer, the skin, sub-Q fat, down through the muscle, which had not previously been done in this manner, according to him. I don't even know if it's annotated in the state medical examiner's report because it hasn't been released yet. They're still waiting. It's pending multiple things. How many times have we heard this over the years? They're doing their own histological studies, which means the tissue samples. And also the big part to this, Nancy, is going to be the toxicology. And we know that takes some time. And it's not just going to be about alcohol. It's going to be everything in the spectrum.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here. If you are a homeowner, you've probably thought, should I call it? The officer taking polygraphs.
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph. And from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test. Why do you say that's from what you
understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's what I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys.
See, that's all I think you're lying, though. Now I just feel like Officer Tatum, you just saying stuff just to say it. Because if it's true that they took a polygraph, you would have asked Warren during the interview. You would have asked Tristan during his interview. It would have came up at some point. You was with him going to Horn Island. You was with him on a boat. You didn't think to ask him, did you take a polygraph test? What did it come back? Is that not like a breaking news kind of story that I think would have blew up the internet even more? You're lying. You would have been put that out. But maybe I'm tripping. Who knows? I'm just
except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot to take tests and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot to take the test. It's not a traditional lot to take test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to.
What do you mean it's not a traditional lie? It's either a lot of take the test or it's not. First you said they for sure did it. Now you saying, well, it might not. You're lying.
Person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lot of take the test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
Did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being true.
She asking you a simple question, bro. You acting like damn near Warren, dog. Are you in this? Was you on the goddamn boat too? What the hell you fumbling over your words though? It's a simple question. You acting just like Warren was in our interview. You got something to hide too, Officer Tatum? Dog, you can't make this up, bro. Chat, let me know if I'm tripping. For real, chat, let me know if I'm tripping.
Truthful in their statements, thinking in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
Did they take a polygraph would be no.
Thank you, Nancy.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum. Hold on. In a nutshell, Joe Scott, there's a difference between a polygraph, which measures all sorts of body signals, your sweat, your breathing, your heart, your blood pressure,
we can show him
all sorts of things, and an audio verification test. Big difference.
Yeah. So the audio is, you're looking for stressors in the voice, and these people are highly trained to do this. And you know how the courts feel about these tests. Are they admissible or not? But I think that, going to Brandon's point, the fact that they have taken these, at least those named allegedly have taken these, according to him, I think that that's significant. Now, whether or not that this is going to be usable, a usable investigative tool, is hard to measure.
I didn't ask you if it's going to be used in court. That's a whole nother animal. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Okay, there may never even be a court case. First, I got to find out what happened to Nolan. Okay, so let's not put the cart before the horse. You've got
Nancy. See, the one thing I can say about Nancy, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. Every person she talks to, she holds them accountable, and she has them just simplify and answer the goddamn question instead of giving us this hoopla, this, that. Bro, just answer the goddamn question. It's short and simple. What y'all so nervous for? Y'all acting like y'all was on a boat too. You might investigate some of y'all there, man. I'm just saying, Chad, let me know if I'm tripping.
Detections, tests. I don't put any stock in that as to whether somebody's lying. You've got nonverbal communication experts claiming they can tell. You've got brainwave analysis. You've got all sorts of things. I want a poly. Right. I'm not saying they did anything or they didn't do anything. Go, strap up, take me a poly. Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. I've been told, but I can't verify, that the boat in question has been searched by scent dogs and cadaver dogs. Is that true?
I'm not familiar if that's true. Let me just clarify. The test that they took was a voice stress analysis test instead of what we call a traditional polygraph test. But
how come you couldn't say that the first time? You're supposed to be a former officer. You should know what you're talking about if it is indeed true or factual, sir. You got a nice little suit and boo. You don't dress like that on your own pod. We know what you're up to, mister. But you want the spotlight, so we're going to continue to give you the spotlight.
I'm not familiar with the cadaver dog searching the boat. I wasn't informed that was the case. But I was told by the boys that they did not wash the boat off or do any of those things that they were accused of doing, after this incident.
Why would they tell you?
And I say, based on all the things that I've heard, it appears that they've been very truthful with me. And law enforcement. They've already communicated with law enforcement very early on.
Okay. Officer Tatum, coming from you, I do give that credence because you were a Tucson PD. I've had people sit down, look me right in the face and lie, and they are so convincing. So I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know what happened. And that's why I really resent people suggesting the investigation be shut down. We're not doing that until we know what happened. Mm-hmm. Officer Tatum interviewed multiple of the young men on that boat. Now, let me address what's happened in the last hours. The family is not buying what they are saying, that nothing was deleted. They're not saying they're lying. They're not saying they're telling the truth. They have hit social media giants with subpoenas once and for all to get everything there is to get about Nolan Wells Digital. Okay, straight out to Dr. Jim Jones joining us out of Virginia. Jones, Dr. Jones, cybersecurity, digital forensics expert, digital forensics program director, associate professor, George Mason University. Okay, can't argue with that. Okay, Dr. Jones, what will the evidence reveal? Let's just start on Nolan Wells' cell phone. Let's start with Snapchat.
Yeah. Sure. So on his cell phone, any images taken for whatever app are going to be stored locally, at least temporarily. So Snap is one of those apps that deletes the picture afterwards. The key here is that when digital files are deleted, the data does not immediately go away. So the data is left intact at least for fractions of a second, sometimes hours, days, weeks. So what they'll find, assuming that they have access to the unencrypted data on the phone, is they will find bits and pieces of old text messages, videos, pictures taken, and that might reveal something that they can timestamp to the event in question, yet the picture is not still in the active files. That would suggest a deletion.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Let me see, Jones. Dr. Jones, I'm just a trial lawyer. I need you to explain carefully what you just said. Let me ask you some pointed questions. Snap is different, very different. Hold on, doctor. Let me go to Tanya Jordan, Chief Parent Officer at BART Parental Controls, author of Parenting in a Tech World. Snap is a whole nother can of worms. The other night, example, my son and I, John David, we both love Kung Fu. We're watching the ultimate Ip Man, and I fell asleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up.
It was developed to send disappearing.
Here. Okay. Snap. What is it?
Thank you.
Snap is an app that was developed to send disappearing nudes many, many years ago. So it's wild, and today now flock to that app, and parents allow it. Myself included. I regret letting my son have that app. So now fast forward to today, children think that this media disappears because that's the user interface presented to them, but the media does not disappear. Children sitting on either side of them can take a picture with their phone, and that data lives on Snap servers because, as we know, law enforcement has had a heck of a time subpoenaing them and getting access to it.
Okay, that's gibberish. So, does a Snap disappear?
A Snap appears to disappear to a user. So if I send a Snap, and let's say, Nancy, you send me a Snap. When I open it up, it disappears from my view. But that media, that photo, that video that you sent me, it is still alive in Snap's ownership.
Okay, so what that means to me as a trial lawyer is I can subpoena it and I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, that made perfect sense. Now I get it. So my son is telling the truth that it disappeared.
Yes.
To him.
To him.
But not to Snap. Okay. All right. What about WhatsApp? That doesn't disappear.
Correct. WhatsApp does not disappear, but WhatsApp is also purported to be encrypted. So Meta moved in a very big disappointment to anybody who cares about child safety to make WhatsApp end-to-end encrypted. So good luck to law enforcement trying to get anything that happened on that app.
To Dr. Jim Jones, digital forensics expert, associate professor, George Mason University, program director, on and on. Dr. Jones, I, like Nolan's mother, find it very unusual that Nolan, for a period of hours, there's nothing. He is a prolific snapper.
I find that unusual too, Nancy.
Insta, you name it.
Snapper.
There's nothing there. I got a problem, number one, of him separating himself from the phone. But no teen does that. Nobody does that. But if he's out in the water, he may leave it on the boat so it doesn't get damaged. But I find it hard to believe that he left the boat, leave with it and his keys, and that he wasn't taking pictures and on the boat, on the way out there. Where's all that? That's human behavior, which is not your forte. But Dr. Jones, explain to me what these subpoenas mean. Dr. Jones, from what we're learning in the last 24 hours, Nolan's family demands all IP addresses associated with his accounts, all communications, chats, posts,
Okay, yeah, sure.
stories. You can explain later to Tanya what is a story, and all other.
Hold on, y'all. Did I fast forward that, or did it just skip? Chat, let me know. Bro, what? Anyway.
Information. The phone is critical because there's nothing on it for the critical hours. Subpoenas issued in the last hours to Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta, all Meta platforms, and all location tracking platforms, including Life 360. Okay, doctor, what does it mean?
So what they're trying to do is find everything that was pushed up to the servers. And as Tatiana pointed out, some of this content is encrypted as it goes through the servers. So they won't be able to see the content on the server, but they'll have a record that an image or a video or a message came through. So what I would be looking at is I would compare what the providers, the servers show to what's on the phone. And if I find a discrepancy, that would suggest that something has been deleted from the phone. Anybody that had access to the phone could easily delete something on the phone, much harder to delete what's being held on the servers.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know.
Oh, come on. Competitors don't care, but I didn't ask you what they don't want me to know. You understand that? Do you understand that? My bad, y'all. My bad. Let's get back to the regular schedule program, right? Right. Nancy, what you got for us? Oh, production.
Password. There are certain things that you need the password to do, such as delete activity. But if you don't have a password and you pick up your phone, if you're touching the screen, that leaves a trace. If you're trying to power it off, that leaves a trace. So we should be able to see people without a password trying to actively interact with that phone, as well as someone that has it. So we would do a forensic acquisition, and that's really important here. Someone just looking in the phone, you can get a glimpse, but you can't see what's deleted and hiding below the surface. We need a forensic acquisition to do that. We can tell if it was just soft deleted, so like sitting in a trash can, or a hard delete. So if you empty your trash on your phone and then you go and throw it into a dumpster and the trash is taken away, there is a log that tracks everything. Also with timestamps on when that activity occurred.
Digital expert Heather Barnhart. Okay. Is a subpoena, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jim Jones, is a subpoena the equivalent of an acquisition, a forensics digital acquisition?
Yeah, good question. No, very different. So the subpoena is going to the providers, the companies that provide these services, and it says, hey, what is on your servers? The physical acquisition is going to get a copy of the raw data stored on the phone. And to Heather's point, what you see through the interface is only a small fraction of what's actually stored on the device. It's a very busy place and things are being replaced and removed all the time. The physical acquisition will take a snapshot in time of anything that's left, in particular, the fragments. She also made a very good point about the logs. Phones, modern smartphones, keep very detailed logs. It's not the picture, but it will tell you that someone deleted a picture, and you may even have a timestamp or other metadata that would help you know something about that content, even if you can't see the content anymore.
So, Dr. Jim Jones, if I delete something, let's just pretend it's a text. We delete a text. Then you go to the deleted file and delete it from the deleted file. We can't see it, but there is a record of that, and it is very likely revivable.
Yes, to the record, for sure. There's a record of that action happening. Revivability depends on how long it's been since it was deleted and what else the phone has been doing. So it's a very unpredictable process. Think of it as something that decays over time. Sometimes that decay is very rapid, sometimes it's slow. And
we know there's a difference in retrieval time on an iPhone versus an Android. It's a very delicate process. John Mobley, veteran trial lawyer, South Carolina. What is it Nolan's mother wants from social media giants?
Everything. That's what they want. And I've been saying this from the beginning. These are the types of things they should have been doing from the beginning. Not press conferences, not grandstanding, not the all show no go, but getting the actual data from the phone so they can get real answers to put all the information regarding what happened in context. They will know if anything was posted, if anything was deleted, if he was communicating with someone. This is the real work that needs to be done. This is how we all get answers.
Hi, guys. American homeowners. The FBI has been warning about a reception on whether Nolan Wells had reception on Horn Island or on the way there.
They could, based on timestamps of things that got pushed to the server, that would say he did have service. The absence of those records doesn't say that he didn't have service. However, the cell phone provider through the tower records could show that, because every time a cell phone talks to a tower, a record is created.
Excellent. The ping trail. Okay, back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Did the young man you interviewed, I believe it was 4 of them, state that Nolan did not have reception, or did they explain why there are no pictures, text, instas, nothing on his phone? Did they have an explanation for that?
Yes, ma'am. They didn't mention anything about whether Nolan has service or not, but they articulated the reason why Nolan may not have, certain pictures on his phone. And they had mentioned because Nolan spent the night at their house the night before, because it's traditional for the last few years that they actually went to Horn Island together. But they were saying that they had taken pictures at the house. Some of the pictures that you've seen floated around online were pictures that they took on the boat, but they didn't take those pictures when they got out there to Horn Island, because they were having fun. And I would argue that they were drinking, and I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera. So what they had articulated to me, that it wasn't abnormal for people not to snap and not to do a lot of pictures and things like that, because they were focused on
But you
being
told me
off of the
they
mainland.
showed you pictures and videos.
Yeah,
so
but
they
it's
did
not
take
uploaded.
pictures and videos.
No. It's not a lot of pictures, and they weren't uploaded. So when you're talking about Snapchat, you're talking about a platform where people are uploading images and pictures to produce to the world. What they showed me were things that they had recorded on their phone, and it wasn't a lot of different things, because most of what they did was drinking and having fun in the water. And so, but what they had articulated to me as well is that it's not abnormal for people not to snap. It's not abnormal for you not to have your phone. And Nolan wasn't the only person that left his phone on the boat. They also mentioned to me, and you could see it in the interview that they did, was that they had no reason to touch Nolan's phone. They weren't thinking about Nolan's phone when they thought the boat was sinking. And when they got to the house, it was no incident when it comes to Nolan getting the phone back to the friend and parent.
You're going far afield from my question. Let me redirect you back to their phones.
He needs some milk.
Nolan has nothing on his phone.
Oh my goodness.
They have pictures and videos on their phones. You told me that they exist, whether they posted them or not. Right. So they were taking pictures and videos. Don't you see why the mom, Nolan's mom, is concerned?
Don't you see that glaring contradiction that she just caught you in? So if she catches you in these contradictions, and we call the kids in theirs, what did you try to cover up, Officer Tatum? You must have seen some, and they must have showed you something. You like, damn, these kids really out here lying for real. And you just going with the story. You just going with it because it's already too late. You done already stuck your neck out there now. Ain't no turning back now. Let's see who's going to be on the wrong side of history and who's going to be on the right side. And Officer Tatum, you, sir, will be on the right side. Let me continue to show half your face, man.
On her son's phone?
Well, Nancy, it's unclear exactly what the mother is articulating, because at one point she's concerned that there's not a lot of Snapchats or social media posting. She did not articulate, or the Benjamin Crump did not mention that there's nothing on his phone. So they're not saying that the phone was wiped and there's no images or anything. She was concerned about his social media frequency. which I believe after talking to the boys, it was consistent with what they said, and it was consistent with basic deductive reasoning that maybe he didn't post a lot on that day. So what remains a focus for me, and if I was investigating this
Not
case,
talking about
I
posting.
would want to know.
Not talking about whether he posted, officer.
No,
He didn't
what
even
I'm saying
take
is that
anything. There's no pictures. There's no anything.
That's what the mom is saying, but we haven't had an opportunity to either see or hear exactly what she's trying to articulate.
Why would she lie?
Some of the things that she said in the media is that she's talking about posting. I don't believe she said that there was nothing at all on his phone, no pictures, no nothing. But I wasn't able to verify that. So if I was able to see Nolan's phone and the mother was able to show me exactly what she's articulating, I'll be able to have a better perspective in comparison to what Warren and the other boys were telling me. So at this point, I only have one side of it, and then I have a fractured perception from what the media or what the mother is saying in the media. So when the police officers look at his phone and they do a forensic extraction, if they're allowed to do that, they will see plainly if Nolan was on his phone, if he had taken pictures, and if they were deleted. Now, I'll implement this as we begin to try to guess and figure out what was happening on that day. It doesn't seem to be reasonable to suggest that the boys were in his phone deleting things. Now, after hanging out with the boys and getting to know them well, they're very intelligent young men, very savvy, and they were raised well. I would project, if I were to make an assumption, that if they were trying to cover up something that happened to Nolan, I would perceive that they would throw the phone in the water or something where it never would be recovered. Or if they had access to get into the phone, they wouldn't just delete. They would just completely rewrite the phone or, do a hard reset. Or they wouldn't give the phone back to mama or the family anyway. So with those factors put in place and what I've talked to them about, it seems as if their story seems consistent to me, that they did not get in the phone. They did not know his password. They had no reason to believe that there was a necessity to get in the phone.
Officer,
and they gave it over to the
I'm not saying
family.
you're wrong. I'm saying I'm not taking anybody's word for anything until I investigate it and corroborate it. Again,
that's fair.
Maybe they're completely innocent.
That's
maybe
fair.
they're not. I don't know. Or maybe someone else
should be fair.
Had something to do with Nolan's death. I don't know, but I will find out. And you said, I don't know what she said exactly. Well, here is what Nolan's mother said.
When we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed. Hey, Ma, come on, take a picture of me. Like he just, that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts.
Okay, to Tanya Jordan, BARC, parental control officer and author. Do you understand what she just said? I do. Explain it.
What does she say?
Absolutely. When a child dies, every second, every hour, every day matters. Families and investigators need timely access to lawfully requested evidence so they can find answers and hold the right people accountable.
True.
And Snapchat claims to respond to most legal requests in 2 to 3 weeks, but critics say some investigations have taken months, which delays justice. Meta, Instagram, right? There aren't many kids on Facebook these days. There's no public average for subpoena response times, but it varies. It varies. And investigators have criticized delays in some really high-profile child safety and teen death cases. WhatsApp, we talked about that earlier. Even with a warrant, Meta generally cannot read or produce message content because it doesn't have it. That's what we were talking about with the challenges with encryption. It's not a response time thing, it's the encryption. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I just felt it was really important to be very clear about what we need for justice and what social media companies are not providing in a timely manner.
You're very clear. I want Tatum to be right. I want this to be easily explainable when we know all the facts. But we will not stop until we know the facts. If you know or think you know anything regarding Nolan's
Appreciate
case,
you, Nancy. Appreciate you, Nancy. So, yes, that was one of the key things that I wanted to show you. Nancy had Officer Tatum, what racism guy on there, whatever you want to call him. We can't call him really officer no more. He's not really an officer, so I don't know why people call him officer. But, I get it. I get it, and I totally understand it. The real question of the day is, though, have y'all heard how they're now bashing the Janetta Brantley girl? Because the Janetta Brantley girl, if you remember, she was the one who put out the audio that we showed yesterday, and they're bashing her. This is what our bedroom lawyer had to say.
I'll say one thing about Janetta Brantley. Y'all are trying to bring it up that she got arrested, that she got in a fight and got arrested or whatever. So y'all are trying to bring up exactly what happened in this case. Kids got in a fight, okay? And then she's the one that went down for it because she's black. But you're trying to say that because she got arrested for a fight, she doesn't know how to audio engineer? Now make that make sense. Oh, she was fighting one day and the cops fucking took her to jail. So
And then that fight that they're referring to, which makes her not capable to be an audio engineer these days, was for something over 20 years ago. But okay.
She must not know how to do her job. Are you dumb?
See, I said the same thing. So to I think her name is Janet Brantley. That's sort of her, the woman who enhanced the audio, and like, that's sort of her, man, who's getting death threats and getting all kind of threats, and people are trashing her name over the internet. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is. But regardless,
thing is like, what do you think they're gonna do? You think that we're gonna put so much pressure on them? Mississippi's gonna go, oh fuck, you're right. Here's the neck. You caught us in some corruption. My bad. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? They are gonna fight this till the fucking death, dude. They're never, ever, 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 ever. Like, if you think there's gonna be some eureka moment where like Mississippi comes to their fucking senses, that's not gonna fucking happen here. So that's why I'm asking you what justice looks like to you, because you think they're going to go, oh, we're sorry, you finally busted us. Every piece of evidence that we put out, they have people that are going to try to spin that, pay the press off, try to discredit it.
They're already doing that now. They're literally doing it right in front of our faces. TMZ, ABC, especially TMZ. It's kind of Officer Tatum. Kind of a little too obvious now.
That's just how it's going to be forever and ever and ever. There's never going to. It's like that boyfriend, that guy that keeps lying to you, and like you think every time you explain it to him that the next time he's going to like not be truthful, and then you catch him again in the lie, and you're like, but I thought I already told you. Another thing is like,
that was a crazy analogy. She must have really had a little PTSD. That's why she brought that up. Hey, why you had to bring in the boyfriend though? Why you had to bring in that? All right. But anyway, back to the bedroom lawyer, because she's cooking. She's cooking per usual. And y'all know I got to continue to give her the platform and let her get her take off, because she's actually a lawyer. It's proven. Showed us. And some, Twitter folks looked it up too. So it's official. She is a lawyer.
Suspect. And this is just me suspecting things because I haven't done my digging yet, but I'm starting to. But I think there's a reason why they own the pharmacy and they're pain management doctors, and they might have a little, going on. And that's why they didn't want that guy's name specifically mentioned, because at this point, it's not even.
Yeah. 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 This is the irony of this whole case, though. And she said this perfectly. And I just wanted to play this too. This is the most important video I wanted to play.
It was really crazy. It's like a kid went out with his friends, came up missing and dead. And then instead of them just like saying, I'm sorry and taking the L, they want to like start going after the victim, going after the victim's family, going after the content creators. They trying to go after everybody except the people he went out with and didn't come back. What is going on, America? You know, it's really crazy. It's like a kid went out with his friends, came up missing and dead. And then instead of them just like saying, I'm sorry and taking the L, they want to like start going after the victim, going after the victim's family, going after the content.
She ain't lying. Because the crazy part is now is victim blaming. Not everybody's blaming the victim. Everybody's blaming Nolan Wells and his family and his mother for just going out here and seeking justice. Just like anybody. But if you haven't heard, Bart, come on down, Mr. Bart. Bart and his family. Woo. Yeah, they got the streets hot, y'all. They got the streets hot. Not gonna lie to you. Update with Bart.
A white group and is found to wash ashore 2 days later. At the start of this case, local authorities to some spoke too soon by suggesting that no foul play appeared to be suspected, and then later reassured Wells' family and those interested in the case that it will be handled like any other case. Now, from our point of view, that could be the error, because Nolan Wells' mysterious death is not like any other case. On Tuesday, in the aftermath of a new piece of background audio being highlighted, a part of an emergency CETO call, many who not only fear what happened to Nolan could happen to them, and those who want answers would question and begin turning up the accusation against Nolan's friends who he traveled to Horn Island with. Now, in the audio release, interpreters would suggest that they heard things like, is he dead? The name Nolan, wake up, and of course, one that has captured many people's attention, damn it, Bart.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut the fuck up!
Depending on how you interpret the audio, it can be heard as the final moments to a crime, where one of his friends yells at another friend for taking a life, while others suggest to cover it up. If you do interpret it this way, it could answer how Wells could just end up disappearing out of thin air. Now, a part of this interpretation, Wells' former teammate Bart Edmondson would be called out due to him seemingly being the person to angrily shout out, "Shut the F up," after panic would take over the boat, making it appear as if he had just finished doing something to Wells, in which you would also hear female passengers not being able to contain their emotions with what they were witnessing, as some are suggesting that they heard Nolan. On Wednesday, as more and more people accuse Edmondson as being a possible suspect, it appears that he and his family are now responding with their own attorney, conservative commentator Russ Latino, based in Mississippi. On Wednesday morning, Latino would announce that he is now joining the Edmondson family to clear Bart's name and go after anyone making defamatory statements. On Facebook, he would go on to write, "I have been retained by the family of Bart Edmondson to pursue people defaming him with wholly fabricated assertions of fact that are putting Bart, his family, and friends in harm's way. The family will put out a formal statement later today and announce the initiation of his first defamation lawsuit." Bart received a credible death threat yesterday because of some of that made-up speculation on this and other sites. The FBI, state, and local law enforcement have all been activated. But I wanted to share a few things for people who think it's a game to invent lies that could get other people killed. We have hired a private investigator firm to identify and track individuals engaged in defamation against the Edmondsons. If you are young, naive, or lack the resources to pay a civil judgment, will not clear us from filing a lawsuit against you. This is not about money for my clients. They want to protect their family, and they want to curb people who lie recklessly. If you make up something out of thin air or share something you don't know to be true, adding the word allegedly or saying people are reporting will not save you from a defamation lawsuit. We will address the falsehoods being presented methodically, but now is not the time for that. Now is the time to make very clear that we intend to be unrelenting against people who are lying online for clicks and likes. The Edmondsons and the broader Ocean Springs community grieve for the loss of Nolan Wells. They want the truth and peace for Nolan's family. People making things up online that put others at risk are not honoring Nolan's life or loss. They're not bringing us closer to the truth, but pulling us away. This will be a large, potentially nationwide task. If you're a lawyer who believes that the rule of law, the presumption of innocence, and our very commitment to truth is in jeopardy and want to do something about it, please reach out to me privately. Now, before Latino would release his statement, Bart's own mother on Tuesday would break her own silence after her son was accused of wrongdoings related to the case of Nolan Wells. While responding to a user on Facebook, she would clarify a previous comment that Bart looks to have made about the last time he was in a certain part of Mississippi, causing some to accuse him of lying. His mother would go on to say, "You are steering the pot by reposting things that are not factual, and you have manipulated words." He said he has not been in past Christian Mississippi in a year, which is where that picture was taken. He was clarifying that he was not present there. He never said he was not in Mississippi. I have a screenshot of it if you need me to send that to you. He is playing football out of state and was only home, Ocean Springs, for a few days in July and was on the boat that towed the boat that Nolan declined going on because he wanted to stay behind. The audio that you were referring to is not as you guys see. They were panicking and creating a plan to get the boat saved from sinking. The newest news has been reported that Nolan was seen on the island after the two boats left. And there are pictures from my son's boat of the boat about to be towed. And clearly Nolan is not on the boat. So for all of you internet investigators, your plot to accuse my child of something is not warranted. And it will come out sooner than later that he did not harm Nolan. And believe me, those who slander his name without warranted will be held accountable for their words. At the top of this report, I wanted to highlight that this case is not usual, and therefore approaching it like a usual case may not be the best thing for all of those connected, especially those who may be innocent, given the highly emotional subject matter, as people who look like Wells desire peace of mind and knowing that they can't just be mysteriously found unalive and no one can give a clear explanation to what happened.
Psst. Hey, Blake.
Yeah?
You're not feeling bad about your lawn, are you?
A little bit.
You've got nothing to feel bad about. Lawns are...
My bad, y'all. My bad. Jesus Christ. Jesus. All right, we're going to finish this video, and then I'm going to go ahead and take you out to another video. As y'all can see, boys, had an important call that I had to take, and I actually got to get back to that call. But right now, it's on a melting block. But, you know, whenever we streaming, I got to, y'all come first sometimes. But, I'll get to the call back in a little bit. Regardless, let's continue the video.
On Tuesday, as a way to challenge myself again of what I heard on the audio and without the influence of a transcript, I also heard another possibility. What if instead of hearing, "Is he dead?" it was, "It's dead," referring to the bilge pump. And the one that left everyone shocked, what if Nolan was actually "no way," as panic set on the boat?
I don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
Now, if this is the case, there are still other questions, like Wyatt Pyron's grandfather appearing to call the CETO captain directly to cancel help, as Wyatt was on the phone to get help. Questionable things about that call still stands out for some.
CETO assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working.
This is probably the most
Can
damning
y'all please
evidence,
come? We have a
I'm being
membership.
honest with you, this video.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
How far is the water coming up?
Hello?
Hey.
Is the
Man.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
Can't even answer.
It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So again, as a full presentation of all the facts continues to be withheld from the public by those in position to give it, people will continue interpreting how they see it, whether it be for their own safety and curiosity. Speculation grows where transparency lacks to exist. Let's talk about them in the comments below. Now that we've
Facts. When there's a glaring lack of evidence, or not a glaring lack of evidence. My bad. A glaring act of transparency, when there's no transparency at all, people are going to fall into their own interpretation until it either gets shot down or proven wrong. So whenever they shoot it down, whenever they actually come out with the truth, then we will know what really happened. But until then, dog, we going to continue to lean on our own understanding.
Defamation.
So she's talking about the defamation lawsuit that Bart now, because Bart's saying we finna sue everybody. Oh, really, Bart? Okay.
Means you got to prove that what I'm saying isn't true. And everything that I'm saying is coming from official Coast Guard reports, official CTO audio, like official GPS coordinates that were published. They're published. This is official stuff that's published. So, I mean, unless the MDMS is publishing fake stuff.
That's true.
Whatever I'm saying is based off official documents that those people released. So I'm so confused as to who's defaming, what's being defamed here, because I am just going off the Coast Guard reports that everyone is privy to. Defamation means you got to prove that what I'm saying isn't true, and everything that
facts. Because everything that people are going off of are the things that's been released to the public. The GPS coordinates, the Mississippi report statement from the Marine Resources, the audio from the Marine, like everything that's being reported, everybody's talking about is the only evidence that we've gotten from actual government entities. So how are we potentially spreading false narratives? Just saying. But anyway, let's continue to get back to what we was talking about a little bit ago.
Angel, just fucking charge them with something, bro. They're gonna get off anyway. Can you just charge them? It's not like they're gonna get convicted anyway. Just fucking charge them. Okay, with something. Like, what the fuck's going on? I mean, like, we can't even get a charge, so we know they're not going to get convicted. We know that. So just give us a fucking charge. Can you just do that?
No. I don't agree with that part of it, because yes, I want them to get a charge, but if I'm being honest with you, I don't want them to get any charge. Like, I want them to get a charge that's going to stick. I can care less of what they're saying. I can care less about this. I can care less about that. But if we talking about it, and if we really being honest, like, we got to make some of this stuff make sense. We really do. But I got some people that got some words for Officer Tatum. I know I'm not the only one out here with words for Officer Tatum. So I want to show this real quick.
Tatum, congratulations on winning Coon of the Year for your continued efforts to push white supremacy. Now, there's a lot of coons out there just like you, but you helping push a lie for the people that killed Nolan Wells has officially made you our Coon of the Year. Earlier this year, I talked about how you got in my DM and laughed at Sonia Massey, a black woman who was murdered in her own home by police. You jumped in my DM and said her murder was justified, but yet the cop who murdered her just got sentenced to 20 years in prison. Proving you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I just know you was a trash-ass cop. Officer Coon Tatum, while you're out here helping liars cover up the murder of Nolan Wells, God is out here revealing the truth. Listen to this coon-ass nigga.
Gotta say something.
Oh, whoa.
Benjamin Crump should be ashamed of himself. Al Sharpton should be ashamed of himself.
This coon had the nerve to hate on Ben Crump and Al Sharpton for trying to help Nolan Wells' family find out the truth. Salute to Ben Crump, Al Sharpton.
I just wanted to show the beginning part of that. My bad, y'all. I meant to mute it a long time ago, but it is what it is. You know, it's not like I ain't heard it before. You know, but I don't condone that language. I don't condone that language. But Secret Service Sam finally got the news that they were reporting drugs was in the system too. So Secret Service Sam's, how do you feel about there being reports that drugs were in alcohol, and definitely heavy alcohol was in the system?
I'm here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. So now all of a sudden, people are saying that Nolan was doing the boog shug, if you know what I'm saying, which is so crazy to me because they're not saying anybody else was doing it. They're just claiming it was just him. And again, they haven't released the toxicology report. So where would you be getting any of this information except for these eyewitnesses who coincidentally come up after this audio is released, after people are hearing alleged nefarious things? Also, I heard today that the guy whose name rhymes with fart lawyered up. Why? Again, all of this is guilty, alleged behavior for when your best friend passes. If it was accidental, they would have said that on day one. We would not still be talking about this. We would have been able to put Nolan to rest and it would have been a terrible tragedy. But the fact that now all of these friends, so-called friends, are lawyering up, they're saying that he was the one that was doing drugs. Like I thought it was, the Coast Guard reported that he had heavy alcohol intake, according to these eyewitnesses. No toxicology report. Why would you make a statement, definitive statement like that before the toxicology results were out? So you could say for a fact that this was in his body. It's just deceptive. This narrative is being pushed by these legacy media networks to protect who? I don't know. I don't know why they would protect Mississippi when Mississippi is well known for its history, and she needs to take responsibility for what's going on. Look, if this was a total accident, then come out and say that. Why do they have to hold this for the grand jury? Why are you holding back the autopsy? It's as simple as that. Mississippi, if you want to take the pressure off and have us take the gas and the foot off your neck, then just come out with the truth and let it be shown. But when you lawyer up and you're deceptive and then you accuse this poor, beautiful young man who lost his life of these things that you have no factual evidence for, it makes us angry. Secret Service.
Secret Service. I like how you just throw in that Nolan beautiful in there. That's kind of just so random, but hey, we'll take it all day long. We'll take it all day long. There's a Facebook group called Talk of the Town. Let's see what's the talk of the town, y'all. Let's check it out.
Everyone denied that the picture we see of Mr. Wells and his friends holding alcohol, everyone kept saying, including them, that that was not from the 4th of July. They're lying. It is 4th of July, and this is how we know.
Right where his butt is at. You move over at the edge of the boat in his butt, and that's actually Nolan's standing in the water right there.
That video was from Officer Tatum proclaiming that he has miraculous evidence to vindicate the other part. But what he did do is identify Bart's boat. Nolan was near Bart's boat, I have to say allegedly, with showing that these boys were present when Nolan was present. Oh, and confirming the color that they had on the day of. In this video, and I'm going to say allegedly, this is what I see. Is that or is that not Warren? And is that or is that not the same outfit he had on in the picture with No? Everybody's saying this picture wasn't from the 4th, but is this not your guy right here, Warren, with the same beads and the same shorts on? That is very clearly Warren in the same outfit, allegedly. This side-by-side photo, you can clearly see they had the same outfits on. And that is also allegedly.
Anyway, I just want to show that really quick. It's a lot. It's a lot that's going on with this case. But now, what's being alleged. Telling you, it's something new every day. Let me show you. Let's talk about it.
I'm here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. Now, this is crazy because Officer Race Tatum allegedly just posted a video which he says shows Nolan on the 4th of July near, the guy's name who rhymes with fart, his boat, showing Warren there on that day, showing them all there on that day at 4th of July. But here's the kicker, is people have figured this out, is that the original photo of them on the boat where they're sitting there with alcohol and this and that, Nolan's in the blue trunks, they were trying to say that was not from the 4th of July. But now, thank you to the brilliant creators and internet sleuths on here, they have pinpointed in that video that Officer Race Tatum just shared that you can tell that Warren allegedly is wearing the same color shorts in that picture. So showing that that picture was actually from the 4th of July. And all I have to say, man, they keep showing their ass, keep showing it, lawyer up all you guys want, but we're just reporting what you're sharing, and your behavior stinks. It stinks. It seems guilty. Again, I've said this all along. If this were accidental, the racists in Mississippi, it would have been the first thing they would have said and told us all. But no, because this is still alive, this tells us there is something wrong. And also another message. Thanks. Stay away from Christine Walmsley and Nolan Wells' family. All you sick people going on her business profile, giving her 1-star review, saying you don't trust her, is disgusting behavior. This is a woman who just lost her son, and shame on you guys. Secrets.
Appreciate you, Sam. Real appreciate that. But in other news, tell me, Chad, if y'all think this is goddamn suspicious or not. Tell me. I seriously want to know. I gotta know. Breaking news. TMZ reports. TMZ reports. Breaking news. Nolan Wells' friend, Bart, as shown in a picture, turned over 20 witnesses to investigators. So Bart's family paid 20 witnesses and gave them to investigators. That's what you're saying? Because why is so Bart, we know your family is the one paying TMZ right now to put this information out. It's really cut and clear. Bart, 20 witnesses? Interesting. You turn over 20 names. Okay. Because maybe Bart saying, hey, I'm finna flip on them before they flip on me. Maybe. Or they hear Bart know. Oh, somebody said, damn it, Bart. So Bart, what you do? They got you handing over these 20 names. I don't know. I'm just saying. Allegedly. Did you do something, Bart? I'm just asking for a friend. But I really think Bart ain't do nothing, though. I don't think Bart did anything. Just saying. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. How come Nolan Wells' friends haven't been arrested? They lied to the cops.
Hey, Nolan Wells deniers. Why do you think that his friends told the cops that they didn't know the girl that he went with? Weird how in Warren's little interview, he fails to mention that he spoke with the deputies and several friends claimed they didn't know the girl he left with. Right here, 1:30 in the morning, even though they were supposedly texting with Katie, right? Didn't get their story straight yet. Right there in black and white, the boys lied. Or are we going to pretend that this isn't evidence too? Hey, Nolan Wells deniers. Why do you think that his friends told the cops that they didn't know?
So, if we're looking at this, the MDMR report for missing person Nolan Wells. On Saturday, approximately 23 hours and 49 minutes. Or at approximately, let's just read what they're saying. Oh, the Fed's trying to what? But anyway, at approximately 1:38, so we'll start here. I was going to start that though, read the whole thing, but it's pointless. He said deputies that he spoke with several friends, traveled to the island on a vessel. Nolan, they left him in a company with an unknown female that he chose to remain on the island with. So that was y'all initial story. Interesting. So what Katie come from? Y'all must have paid Katie too. I don't know. But that's definitely a blatant lie. Definitely a blatant lie. But who knows? Who knows? TMZ did. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. They showed that they tried to show that they unbiased. Because this headline right here, they got to play both sides. They got to make sure that people don't really suspect or know that they playing both sides. Nolan Wells' friend, lawyers up, denies claims he killed him over a girl. Who said that? That's what some people saying. Because Bart supposedly used to date Katie. Uh-oh. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Maybe y'all knew that. Maybe. Is that new information to y'all? I'm asking for a friend. But anyway, interesting, right? Very interesting. Very interesting, Bart. But yeah. Secret Service Sam, you got another update for us? Let's get to it.
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And Officer Race Tatum was on Nancy Grace getting roasted about the cell service. Check this out.
You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but you wasn't gonna upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes, but it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had 1 or 2 bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone.
First of all, since when is Officer Race Tatum an expert in cell reception? I've been on an airplane with 1 bar of reception and still uploaded a video to my social media platforms from 30,000 feet in the air. And
then he did say, y'all heard him say too earlier that he had, you at least had 1 or 2 bars, but you can't really upload anything with 1 or 2 bars. What?
Other thing, does he have an Obama phone? That would be appropriate.
When I listened to the CETO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing each other.
So let me get this straight. He hears the phone call being dropped with nobody has, but he doesn't hear all the other stuff in the background? That's curious.
So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay, well, forget about the reception. Why did his friends allegedly delete pictures off of his phone and the 24 hours of his Snapchat? Nancy, bring this thing home.
I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
No.
No further questions. Yeah. That's funny. That is funny. But, he tried it. He definitely tried it. I think he did a good job. I'm just asking for a friend. Just asking. But man, oh man. A lot of things that's going on, man. Man, this case is getting interesting. Every single day I wake up with something new. Every single day I look at this computer and I'm like, dog, what are we going to learn today? What is going on today? Man, oh man. God bless. God bless him. So the Nolan Wells mom, she had to come out and make another statement because everything that's going on the internet. Kind of sad that she has to continue to do this.
Anybody anything. The only thing we did initially, we just asked a question. We asked, what happened to Nolan? That's it. That's the question we asked, and everyone went crazy. Everyone, and when I say everyone, I'm talking about the people who are being negative about this, because at the end of the day, this might be a joke to you, this might be funny to you, but it's not to me or my family. We lost a piece of our heart. And so I would recommend you stop, because the hate is showing. If you're not giving uplifting, encouraging words to me and my family, then just stop. Like, you don't have to leave negative, nasty comments. You don't have to try to create AI videos. You don't have to do that. Like, you literally don't have to do that. Like, it's just wild. And I have to laugh sometimes to get through this pain. So for those of you who may feel like, oh, she's not grieving enough, trust and believe. I am grieving. I am absolutely grieving. And just remember too, everyone grieves differently. I would never get on any platform and ever judge anybody because I feel like they're not grieving the way that I want them to. Like that's crazy. To even think that there are people like that are trying to tell me and my husband how we need to grieve the loss of our son. Like, it's wild. The other thing too, let me make this very clear. What you're seeing on my social media as far as the follower count, that was not there. That was not there before I lost my son. Social media does not pay any of my bills. Before this tragedy happened to me and my family, like, my social media was somewhat non-existent. So for those of you who are speculating on whether or not I'm making money off social media, let me be the first to tell you I am not. And yes, I know I do not have to explain myself to anyone, but sometimes saying these things, it doesn't make me feel better. But talking about it does help me process what I'm going through. And so that's the biggest thing, is I'm trying to process my grief. I'm trying to process the situation because, again, like I stated before in my Facebook post, I don't have the luxury of falling apart. I don't. When you are trying to find out what has happened to your child, to your loved one, you don't get that grace and luxury, or at least I don't. We don't owe anybody anything. The only
And I totally agree with that. I think, at the end of the day, she's doing whatever she wants. I think, the video with her, fixing her face and doing that in the morning, I mean, that might be the only way that she can actually get in front of the camera if she's really not just sitting there talking to the camera, like, and trying to get a message off. Maybe that's, easier for her. But I feel like her talking and her, responding to some people and, having the courage to say something, I mean, kudos to her. I mean, in most situations, a lot of people sometimes would have a hard time saying anything. But she said at the beginning that her son would want her to get on social media and continue to say his name and spread his name and continue to defend, of course, her family. That's what her son inspired her to do, who she no longer can say hello to, who she no longer could kiss, who she no longer could see again. That's what her son encouraged her to do. So at the end of the day, if you have a problem with her getting on social media, if you have a problem with her even showing her face on social media like the way that she is, I mean, to be quite honest with you, you got to look yourself in the mirror. Because her doing this, if I'm being honest, like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, but then again, I wouldn't know. That's how she feel like her son and what she feel like her son want her to do. So who are we to judge her? We're not supposed to. Let her live her best life. Let her continue to grieve in the way that she knows how to. All right? So you really can't say much, man. You can't say much to her. That's so to you, Mama Wells. We praying for you. We hope things eventually get better, and they will. And the storm always eventually ends, but sometimes we just got to learn how to dance in the rain. And Mama Wells, you dance in the rain right now, so SO to you. But one thing that we got to get straight: stop victim blaming Nolan Wells.
They're trying to victim blame Nolan Wells for allegedly being drunk. There's a few things I want to say about this. If Nolan Wells was heavily intoxicated, that to me is even more reason why, as his friend, you should not have left him on a fucking island 10 miles away from the mainland. If my friend is drunk and not thinking clearly and they're saying, no, I want to stay on this island, too fucking bad, get in the goddamn boat. Which brings me to the second thing I want to talk about. If Nolan was drunk, his friends probably were too. Should they have been operating a boat? Anyone gonna check into that? Because apparently they had a call for a tow. What was going on there? And number three, probably the most important piece of information, if he were drinking and he was smashed super drunk, he does not deserve to die. This right here is so fucking shitty.
That's facts, though. Because that's the thing that people not understand. Even if he was drinking, even if he did snort cocaine or whatever the hell y'all alleging, dog, I'm sure he wasn't the only one. And then on top of that, he lost his life. So just because he was snorting cocaine, potentially, allegedly, or just because he was drinking and heavily drunk, allegedly, right? That gives him the right to lose his life? No. So we got to stop the all extraness, man. We got to. Attorney Crump and the Ben Crump law firm. Jesus Christ. I get to it in a second. I will get to it in a second. Ben Crump has released a statement with their update. So they're not doing a press conference, but they wanted to just update the public with what's going on. And this was their statement that they released, updating the public so far on what's going on. Let's take a look at it. Let's read it. Let's talk a little bit more about it. Attorney Ben Crump shares case updates and the Nolan Wells investigation. Actually, hold on. This is not what I was talking about. That's not the right one. Anyway, hold on. In the meantime, while I search for this, my bad, y'all. In the meantime, while I search for this, got another video for you. Just be patient. Be patient. We're going to get there. We going to get there. I want to get to this video because it's kind of interesting if you ask me. Just want to play it. You can lean on to your own interpretation of the video.
This white woman, this is why they hate Black people.
One of the reasons white people hate Black people is because we cannot tolerate Black joy. We cannot tolerate Black intelligence. We cannot tolerate Black beauty. We cannot tolerate Black confidence. We cannot tolerate Black camaraderie. We cannot tolerate anything that frees a Black person. We don't like Black people to be educated. We don't like them to be successful. We don't want Black judges. We don't want anything for Black people that doesn't directly affect and entertain us. So we can have a Black nanny, a Black house cleaner. We can have a Black teacher. We can.
Interesting. So she did a lot of explaining right there, did she not? With some of the things that she was saying and what she was saying, to be exact. I mean, if I'm being honest, kind of crazy if you ask me. But she doesn't speak for everybody, that woman, but I just wanted to show y'all that because some people really think like that. And I'm sure some Black people who think like, oh, we hate that y'all are privileged. We hate that you have this, you have that, you have I'm sure it's the same on both aisles. But what I'm trying to say And why I showed that video was because it's not right. You shouldn't judge somebody because of what they look, what they don't have, or what they do have. You judge a man or you judge a woman by the character and who they are as a person and a human being. So, so we shall see. We shall see. But let's play this real quick. Thought this was interesting. Because you're right.
I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. And so something is really amiss. And I'm hoping that the country is bracing itself for what may potentially be revealed from either autopsy specifically, but autopsy being is authorized as an independent autopsy. There is something strange in the milk. And I just hope we can prepare ourselves. We thought we had moved past immaterial days in Mississippi, but I'm very afraid that it's going to be worse than we ever imagined.
You know, I got
Ooh. I hope it's not. But the way everybody moving, the way we ain't saying people trying to cover things up, but the way it's seeming like, the way it's feeling, I wouldn't say it's a cover up. I wouldn't say something's going on, but it's kind of hard to deny what we know about this case so far and deny what we've learned. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, that's it. It's just hard to deny some of the things that we've learned and some of the things that we know involving this case. And whether some people are right, whether some people are wrong, whether some people are jumping to conclusions, I mean, it's all the above. But man, oh man, this is getting interesting, man. This is getting interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. So we shall see what's going to happen. We shall see what happens next. And man, when I tell you things going to get interesting, things going to get interesting. But I pray Nolan Wells gets justice. That's the thing that we all care about, and that's the thing that we all want. Justice for Nolan Wells. Nothing else really matters. Who cares what this person says, that person says? We need justice for Nolan Wells. So, with that being said, we're going to watch this last video, Law and Crime. They've just released some information. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Don Lemon, they're on it. And then we're going to get the True on Crime. Or should we get the True on Crime first? No. We're going to get the Don Lemon first. Don Lemon, then True on Crime, and then we up out of here, y'all. 2 more videos. Let's talk about it. Let's learn about it. And let's see what's really going on.
Senators, and none of them had any information about this case. Cindy Hyde-Smith, she's the senator from Mississippi, just told me she's the only one that had any information about this case. A lot of senators said, oh, I don't really know. I don't know enough to comment. Or if they did comment, they said, oh, you know, it's sad that a young man lost his life. But that's all I really know. Cindy Hyde-Smith is the senator from Mississippi. So she just said, listen, I'm going to let the state investigators handle this and do their job. And I don't want to comment on an active investigation. But I was shocked. I mean, again, I know that senators represent their state and that it's not a federal issue. So I know the FBI is involved, but that doesn't mean that senators have to know about it. But I was shocked at just the dearth of knowledge on Capitol Hill. So I wanted to start there. Going into this other case, Dawn, before I talk about the details of this, it's why people like me, you, and anybody else that's commenting on this needs to make sure that we are speaking very carefully, because lawsuits are a real thing. People can lawyer up and people can sue you based on what you say. Libel, defamation, they are very real. And so just a word of caution for all of our fellow, journalists and commentators and broadcasters who are commenting on this and other issues. But this case,
and so we've been saying though, Daniel, in our newsletter every single day, we say at some point you have to let the truth speak.
Yes.
To define the narrative and not the falsities that have been going around, and there have been many of them.
Yeah, and this case around in Nolan's murder.
Let's get into this because Andy, let's put this up because I think this is really important. It says ex-teammate of Nolan Wells takes steps to sue influencer over online accusations, and there's a photograph of him. I guess it's Bart and I guess a young lady who was there. I can't see the thing.
The photo is Bart and Nolan.
Yeah, I see Nolan, but I'm talking about the young lady in the middle. And it said the center. Well, she's the Mississippi Free Press is the one that I'm looking at. And so, no, mine has a photograph of it. This is the influence.
God damn it! They trying to sue my lawyer. Oh my goodness! They trying to sue our bedroom lawyer. Holy shit! They trying to sue our bedroom lawyer, y'all. That's a good picture of her, though. I'm happy they use that picture of her. She don't look like that really these days, but we still love her though. That's all her. But damn, they trying to sue her. God damn it, bedroom lawyer.
Sir Kimbra Lee for defamation on July 29th.
We've been watching all her videos, and she just recently started talking about Bart. Only just recently started talking about Bart. And as soon as we started talking about Bart, he talking about suing somebody? He talking about suing somebody? We just started mentioning, we just learned about your name, Bart, from the calls. You trying to sue my lawyer? My bedroom lawyer? Come on now. Come on now. Y'all quick to sue though. Maybe because now your name is in the mix when it wasn't anywhere near the case, but you the one who said online that you was in Wyoming. Ah, okay. Bedroom lawyer, what you got to say about all this? Oh, production. God. I ain't gonna fire y'all today.
The one that said the fucking name on the fucking phone call. I ain't wrote that fucking person's name on a Coast Guard report. What? You ain't paid the Coast Guard enough money to write a different fucking name? That's not my problem. I'm reading what the Coast Guard wrote. I'm reading what the fuck is said on the audio released from CETA. I'm looking at the GPS coordinates that was released from their boat. What's going on here? What defamation where? Acting like I'm the one that said the fucking name on the fucking phone call.
Today,
I ain't wrote that fucking person's name on a Coast Guard report. What? You ain't paid the Coast Guard enough money to write a different fucking name? That's not my problem. I'm reading what the Coast Guard wrote. I'm reading what the fuck is said on the audio released from CETA. I'm looking at the GPS coordinates that was released from their boat. What's going on here? What defamation where?
Defamation where, she said. Hey, y'all ain't gonna play with my bedroom lawyer. Stop playing with her.
In 2026, over social media posts that he says imply he may have played a role in Nolan Wells' death. Wells is on the right, was found dead on Horn Island, Mississippi, 2 days after traveling there with his friends on July 4th weekend. And so they're saying that former teammate of his, if you look down at Ocean Springs High School football team, is set to pursue defamation claims after alleging that a flurry of unfounded accusations on social media led to a death threat. So he's getting death threat, has a death threat. Russ Latino, a lawyer and the CEO of the nonprofit news publication Magnolia Tribune, announced that he was representing Edmondson in a Facebook post alleging that defamatory statements are putting Bart, his family, and friends in harm's way. Latino sent out the first of what he says will be multiple cease and desist demands today, demanding an apology and correction from influencer Kimbra Lee, who has more than 200,000 followers across Facebook and Instagram. So This is only the beginning. Now, some of the reports that we wanted you that are, alleging things that we don't know to be true, and you may see some of the reports like this. Andy, do you have the one? I think it was a YouTube person or something, and we showed it. We had it played in the editorial meeting. Can you play it, please?
Reporting live from Ibis Club, Fright Plus News, I'm John Abba. The case of Nolan Wells looks to be one of the most interesting cases in recent years. A black teen in Mississippi goes missing after being left on an island by his friends, who happen to be a mainly all-white group, and is found washed ashore 2 days later. At the start of this case, local authorities to some spoke too soon by suggesting that no foul play appeared to be suspected, and then later reassured Wells' family and those interested in the case that it will be handled like any other case. Now, from our point of view, that could be the error, because Nolan Wells' mysterious death is not like any other case.
Okay.
On Tuesday,
so these are the stories, and I'm sure you guys have seen them on social media, on YouTube. Now, look, no shade to this creator influencer. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. But when you get reports like that, you cannot always hang your hat on the authenticity of those reports, because I have seen reports about me from very similar influencers or very similar content creators, and none of it is true. A lot of it is just made up. So you have to be really careful about what you're listening to. You can listen to whatever you want, but check different sources, Daniel, because they could end up like this Kimberly. If you put stuff out on social media, you have enough followers where they believe it will make a difference, and you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. That's why I always say, pay attention to trusted.
Private Media Network are working behind the scenes. What you see us do when we come on air.
The stuff.
And I'll just add, I talked about President Trump.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're okay, and we will discuss that more to make sure that everything is okay. I'd like to see it and we'll make the Don right motion gasm on.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! How I got one good part that I want to get to.
Who is a psychotherapist and also
y'all be careful if you are doing content on this case. Always say allegedly, and then always also vet your sources. I vetted all my sources, and I've only shown a lot of Kimberly's information, because with Kimberly and what she says, at the end of the day, she's just using the information that we've all gotten online, and not only online from the Mississippi Department of water resources or marine resources. Just saying. So Kimberly, you good. We ain't worried about it.
On social media. I guess, can we call you an influencer and a thought leader on social media, if you don't mind?
I don't mind.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. So only that, but
yeah,
and the psychology around people who are making up shit on social media.
Yeah, I wish I could say more.
Talking about the psychology on, what people are making up on social media. We don't care about the psychology and what people are making up on social media, but we do care about y'all spreading false narratives and spreading fake information online. We do care about that.
They also ruled his cause and manner of death undetermined, with the official autopsy still pending.
Hold on, this is from ABC.
And one Mississippi that has come to 18 years.
Right on with that. I want to play this report to gain a little bit more understanding about what the friend is suing about, and to give us a little bit to talk about this heightened state that we're in. It's from WLOX.
Details in the death of Nolan Wells, where investigators said the 18-year-old went missing on July 4th and spent the day drinking heavily. Now, that is coming from a document that was obtained by ABC News through a public records request. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources compiled a brief list of...
So everybody using the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources are damn near responsible for all this shit that is being spread around the evidence. Well, spread around the internet. I said spread around the evidence. They didn't release the GPS coordinates. They didn't release the C-toll call. They didn't release saying that he was heavily drinking. So if everybody using the same sources, they're going to sue everybody? Because that's the same thing that my girl Kimberly was using. Just throwing it out there, just saying. But okay.
Information about Wells, and one of the first agencies to respond was them. The document said it was unknown what Wells had eaten that day, but described his alcohol intake as heavy. A private autopsy also ruled his cause and manner of death undetermined, with the official autopsy still pending.
Okay, you responded to some of this stuff on your social media about blaming the victim. And we talked about blaming the victim the other day, and people were really outraged by it. Here is what Mr. Connie said on his social media.
Apparently, there are reports that Nolan Wells was intoxicated, heavily intoxicated, according to some witnesses. And even there are people reporting that he had drugs, including cocaine, in his system the day he went missing. And I want to address this. Number one, why is this narrative being pushed so hard by certain online personalities and certain platforms? Why the victim blaming? Because it really doesn't matter. I don't care if he drank every alcohol on the island and used every drug on the island. Something still happened to this young man. Something still took place that led to him losing his life. And somebody must know something about what had happened. I'm not even saying that somebody certainly did something, but somebody must know something about what happened. And until this family has the truth, we need to continue to pursue justice in this circumstance so that the truth will be unveiled. Whenever you see people victim blaming, you have to know that they're trying to distract you for some sort of a reason. That is the entire point of victim blaming, is they're trying to divert your attention from one thing to another. And they're trying to make Nolan Wells look as though he is somehow responsible for his own death before we know what the truth of the circumstances are. Why is that? Why is there a concerted effort to persuade public perception towards this being Nolan Wells's fault? That is an interesting thing, and the kind of thing we need to be thinking about as we're going through this process. This family and this circumstance and this situation deserves to know the truth and what happened to this young man. Do not allow yourself to be distracted by irrelevant details. Maybe he was drunk. No, not sure. But somebody knows something. And think about this. If he was drunk at the age of 18, then someone knows how he got that alcohol, because he certainly didn't go to the store and buy it. If he did use cocaine, then somebody sold him that illegal drug, and that person is culpable. But right now, they're pushing a narrative to try to place the blame of his own death onto him. And it is worth asking why. Why are they doing this? Who is responsible?
Oh, no. Jesus. All right. I don't know why. All right. My bad, y'all. We were just cooking. Oh, my goodness. My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad, y'all. Literally mid video, too. Yeah. That's on me. That's on me. All right.
If he did use cocaine, then somebody sold him that illegal drug, and that person is culpable.
Facts.
But right now, they're pushing a narrative to try to place the blame of his own death onto him. And it is worth asking why.
They did this with Tamir Rice. They did this with George Floyd. They did this with Breonna Taylor. They do this all the time with us. It seems like. Why do we victim blame? Oh, George Floyd was high on fentanyl. Was he? Why does it matter? He still didn't deserve somebody to have their knee on the back of his neck. Why do they do this to us? Interesting.
Why? Why are they doing this? Who is responsible for this? Why is it so important that people rush to judgment and believe that Nolan Wells was responsible for his own death? And why is that more important than actually finding out the actual details that led to the young man losing his life? It's important that we stay focused and not allow ourselves to be distracted. And it's important that we allow this family to receive the justice that they rightly and justly deserve.
Homeowners, if you're thinking about listing your property.
No. Homeowners aren't thinking about that. We're not. On multiple. We ain't thinking about it. I'm sorry to break the news to you. Sorry. Anyway, back to our video. Like I told you, these ads ain't paying us. We ain't never showing them. Production.
I was thinking because I'm like, oh, really? Do you want to get the blood alcohol of all those teens that were on that island who probably some of them, I'm sure, would have drank more than Nolan, if that is even true. They didn't come back. I mean, they did come back. I was gonna say come back dead. They did come back alive.
But it's just an incredibly irrelevant.
And that's what teenagers do. Like we said, that's what babies do. Teenagers, this is like their senior trip. Okay, maybe they shouldn't be drinking, but come on, we all live in the real world, Mr.
That's
Conley.
right. And this is what people do. They look for justifications for why something bad happened. And the truth is, it doesn't matter whether he was drunk or not. Something happened to him, and we need to find out what that truth is. And that island was so incredibly populated, it is nearly impossible to think no one knows something, no one saw something. Whatever that something is, we should be all like working to find that something. Up to and including somebody did something, up to and including he fell while intoxicated and couldn't rescue himself. Someone had to have seen something because the island was so populated. If you've seen the pictures of how many boats, there's like a bazillion boats out there. Like someone had to have seen something. They might even know they saw it, but they saw it. So let's find out what the truth is and allow this family to have the closure they deserve and to grieve.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as a psychotherapist, I've been working as a psychotherapist for over 20 years. Nothing tortures a parent more than losing a child and not knowing the details of that loss. Literally nothing.
Don't I know?
Thanks.
I had a sister that died of an accidental drowning, and she could swim, but it was cool outside. And so she had all of her clothes on, and it's still, it haunts the family. It's like, how did that happen? How did that happen? But accidents happen, and you're right. It has haunted my mom more than anything. Great analysis. I want to tell people we're opening up the phone lines. We have psychotherapist Elliot Connie here. He will take some of your calls or comments. And by the way, before we get to him, I want to say, keep it brief, keep it quick. We have an eject button. We'll get rid of you quickly. First, a word from our sponsors.
You ever look around at the way the world works and you think, now, who designed this mess? People work harder, they pay more, they earn less, and somehow get blamed when the system doesn't work for them.
Oh,
that's what Jordan is saying. How it is about that.
Get that book for free if you can't afford it. Come on. It doesn't get any better than that. Free is good. Okay, so the phone lines are open to take your calls. One of our legends is on the line. Andrea Pinkney is calling. She is in Texas. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Don. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. You okay?
Well, I'm okay. The one thing I wanted to say is alcohol is a depressant, and a lot of people. I'm talking to you. I'm sorry.
What?
No, I'm not talking. Maybe you have the volume up. Are you hearing an echo or something? But we're not. I'm not talking.
Yeah, well, I think I have it fixed now. Alcohol is a depressant. I don't know why so many of us choose to drink. It would be better, I think, if people would smoke marijuana. And they would at least get hungry and sit down.
All right, just a comment. Well, psychotherapists, you know that alcohol is a depressant. I always say it's amazing to me that alcohol is the one thing that is legal now, when it's in many ways it has more of a detrimental effect on your health and your sobriety than other forms of, how do you say this? You may want to entertain.
I definitely think that people need to understand the impact of alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. And more specifically, it depresses your inhibitions, meaning that choices you wouldn't make sober, you would make while intoxicated. I would hold back on the thought that you might as well just smoke marijuana, because that also comes with its own level of risk.
Set of issues, yeah.
Its own set of issues. Its own.
We're not advocating anything on this program, but go for it.
No, but I do think it is wise to understand the chemicals you put in your body have consequences, and alcohol is a depressant, and it reduces your ability to make wise decisions.
Okay, so let's see. We have several people on the line. Oh, I think this is really important. Virginia Pursley, Mr. Connie says she's from Concord, California. Curious about therapists, what the therapist has found dealing with young clients are like, and they may be having issues being able to interact with others due to always being on their phones and devices. Hi, Virginia.
Hi, Don. I was just curious, since you've been working for over 20 years with psycho.
Why is this? All right. We can care less about what they talking about. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. But in other news, and for our last video of the night on Nolan Wells with hold on. For our last video tonight, True Crime, they came and us with a Nolan Wells update. Well, Long Crime Network, I should say. Man. Let's get to it. Last video tonight. My bad for dragging.
To tech companies, to audio furthering conspiracy theories that may now be debunked, to video that may change what this whole case is about. There are a lot of updates and developments in the Nolan Wells death investigation we need to talk about. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay. Got new developments in the Nolan Wells case that we need to talk about as the family is desperately seeking answers. The public has been invested in this. It's all about the truth of what happened to this 18-year-old young man. There are developments about subpoenas, audio, video, official documentation, possibly drinking. And we're going to get into it all with a former detective. I wanted an investigator on this to make sense of this, what's happening behind the scenes, how we should put it into our overall context. It's important conversation. Now, even before we get started, I want to let everybody know, we've been following this case, right? So if you want more details, if you want more of the documentation, if you want everything we have so far, you can go to our Long Crime Plus app, because we have a case file section and we have everything on the Nolan Wells story. So check it out there if you want to look at the documents yourself, see the information for yourself. It's just a great way to become even more educated on this case. Nolan, July, he went with a group of friends to Horn Island, a barrier island off the Mississippi coast, to celebrate. At some point, he disappeared. He was reported missing that night, and you had this massive search that was launched. 2 days later, July 6th, that is when his body was found on the island, washed ashore. Question, of course, is what happened to him. It remains a question. Yeah. Nobody has publicly been able to answer it. The results of the family's independent autopsy listed Nolan's cause and manner of death as undetermined. The pathologist found that pieces of his body, we're talking portions of the neck, had apparently been removed by the state medical examiner during that first examination. So this second autopsy, this second examiner couldn't determine what exactly happened to Nolan. Couldn't rule out foul play, couldn't say whether there was injury to his neck, whether there was trauma to his neck. And that leaves many questions on the table, raises a question of whether the state ME is conducting further testing of those components, and whether that will definitively conclude what happened to Nolan. Was there trauma? Was there drowning? Was it accidental or not? Perhaps tough given those conditions. You're also talking about decomposition. Oh, and there's the red discoloration apparently found on the back of the head. I spoke to medical experts about that. Some say it could be from decomposition. Some say maybe it could be blunt injury before death, because the body wouldn't discolor like that after death. And remember what's going on here. The family wants answers. The family hired attorney Ben Crump and his team to navigate this, to do an independent investigation. And there seems to be a distrust of law enforcement here. And they're looking for answers that they may feel they're not going to get from official channels. So let me get into all these new developments. And before they do that, I want to bring in Matt Irvine, retired detective, law enforcement instructor, who's going to help us break it all down. Matt, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Jesse.
Okay, first I got to talk about these subpoenas. Just came out last night. I definitely wanted to cover this. So Nolan's mother, we've talked about a lot on this program, Christine Wensley, has appeared to file subpoenas for records from TikTok, Snap, so Snapchat, WhatsApp, Meta, Life 360. They are part of this
We need it
legal
all,
case regarding the estate of her
Yo, we
son,
need
the
it all.
estate of Nolan Wells. And these are very specific subpoenas, court order requiring a witness to produce documents or records or evidence. And it appears that they were filed by attorney Gary Bufkin, who is apparently working with Ben Crump, who we know the family has retained as counsel in this matter. And this was filed in the Chancery Court of Jackson County. So, for example, here's just the WhatsApp subpoena to give you an idea. It says, quote, "You're hereby commanded within 21 days from the receipt of this subpoena, but no sooner than 15 days from the receipt of this subpoena, to produce and permit inspection and copying of all documents, electronically stored information, records, and tangible things designated below, and to deliver, mail, transmit, or make available for inspection said materials to counsel for petitioner," meaning Ms. Wensley. Now, you go down a little bit further, it says materials to be reduced within dash down.
I just want to hear what your expert got to say.
Now, Life 360, one point of deleted.
Homeowners, if you're thinking of
Homeowners, if you're thinking about listing your property, feds be listening, boy. Y'all ain't slick, boy. Y'all ain't slick, man. Y'all ain't slick. But anyway, let's get back to the video. My bad, y'all.
Now, we also know that Nolan's purported friend, Warren Hudson, told Brandon Tatum on the Officer Tatum show, this YouTube show, quote, "There was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then, you know, there's no reason for anything."
So this is a statement that he's reading from Warren and from the interview that Warren did with Officer Tatum, whoever he is. Not Officer, Mr. Brandon Tatum.
To be deleted. All right, I know this is off topic, but I just got to call out a sponsor that helps make episodes like this possible.
Case, I'm a know that is all this
penis. Matt, I threw a lot at you. Why are we seeing these subpoenas?
Well, I think there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, this language in these subpoenas is pretty standard for any subpoena that is demanding the production of records from any electronic service provider. These are the kinds of things you would look for in putting together a case. I'm expecting that the Jackson County Sheriff's Department is commanding the production of the same kind of information, either through subpoena or search warrant. But I think this speaks to the fact that Nolan Wells' family, as they've expressed, does not have confidence in the integrity or the impartiality of the law enforcement investigation. And so they are conducting their own investigation. And that, I think, gets to the larger issue of why so much of this country is talking about this case at this time. And I mentioned to you when we spoke before that there are legitimate reasons why some people don't trust law enforcement. To put a finer point on it, there is
law enforcement
terrible history in this country of Black men, particularly young Black men, being murdered by white men who get away with it. And unfortunately,
at least you fucking let's drop a bomb for this guy for stating the goddamn obvious and being honest and being willing to talk about it as a health, or not a health professional, but as a legal professional. Let's drop another goddamn bomb for somebody not being afraid of what anybody else has to say, but just stating what is true. Let's drop one more bomb for just him just stating the facts as they should be stated, and let's run this back.
Terrible history enforcement. And I mentioned the larger issue of why so much of this country is talking about this case at this time. And I mentioned to you when we spoke before that there are legitimate reasons why some people don't trust law enforcement. To put a finer point on it, there is a terrible history in this country of Black men, particularly young Black men, being murdered by white men who get away with it.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, in a lot of those cases, the role of law enforcement has ranged from indifference to complicity. Specifically in Mississippi, I mean, Emmett Till's body was discovered submerged in water after being murdered by white men who got away with it, roughly 4 or 5 hours drive from where Nolan was found. The 3 civil rights workers who were murdered by white men who were Klansmen and also police officers were found less than 200 miles from where Nolan Wells was found. So I am not casting any aspersions on the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and I certainly don't claim to know how Nolan Wells died. But it does not surprise me that a Black family in Mississippi, given this history, would have questions when their son dies mysteriously and would not accept at face value what was being represented to them by authorities. So I think these subpoenas and this independent investigation speak to that.
No, you raise a good point. You raise a good point about their concerns, their reservations, their need for answers, their need for transparency. The one thing I'll say is, you hire Ben Crump, we've talked about this before, puts a lot of pressure, puts a spotlight on this case, puts pressure on law enforcement to conduct a thorough investigation and give answers to the public. Not saying they wouldn't have done that regardless, but the family had concerns that it seemed law enforcement was automatically saying there was no foul play, nothing to see here. I do have a question, though. You raised an important point. You said, and I don't want to put words in your mouth and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's likely you would assume that law enforcement has tried to obtain the same records. If they didn't, if it comes out they didn't try to get the same records from these social media companies and Nolan's family is, does that signify to you a deficit in the investigation?
It would. I mean, they should be at this point seeking information from every possible source. That would include human sources, and I've heard reported that they've spoken to something like 60 plus people, but they should definitely be seeking every form of evidence from electronic media, whether it be—
And what would they be doing for it? I mean, what would they use it for? What would they be trying to find out? How you're an investigator, you get all this information, what do you do with it?
Well, there's a few things, right? I mean, they should be looking at the phones of anybody on the island that has, come forward in the investigation to say that they have had any interaction or even any sightings of Nolan Wells on July 4th. And combing through all of that electronic data, looking at communications, looking at images from the devices of anybody that interacted with Nolan Wells on Horn Island that day, not just his friend group. They also should be looking at these electronic service providers to see if there were any images, any communication from Nolan that day that for some reason isn't on his phone. They should be looking,
you can tell
for example—
that? I mean, this information would tell you if something was deleted?
So very often when somebody deletes content from their phone, it remains on the servers of the electronic service providers. Some of that depends on the application. Some of it depends on the permissions and privacy you've got set up on your device. But it is certainly possible for somebody to believe they have deleted something from a device and to have that data still remain on the servers of the electronic service provider.
Does it seem to you that they are preparing a lawsuit of some kind? It's not the first time that somebody would file a lawsuit after they obtain certain information, potentially through a subpoena. Is that something you are wondering? Because remember, the family's represented by counsel.
Well, yeah, but just because they represented it by counsel doesn't mean that they're going to sue. But yes, to answer your question before he answers the question, yes, they are planning to sue their ass. Just in case the investigation doesn't go how it's supposed to go. Just in case. Because guess what? Somebody going to pay for his death. Whether we do it in the justice system or whether we're going to hit their pockets. Because we can prove that you're at least negligent. There was at least negligence. And he was last in y'all presence. So Wyatt, yeah, your pocket's going to be hit, my guy. Warren, yeah, your pockets might get hit, my guy. Allegedly, though. We shall see.
It's certainly a possibility. And, it's not unusual when somebody loses a loved one to want to seek some kind of accountability. And particularly if you feel that the authorities are not discharging their duties effectively, a lawsuit can be one way to seek some form of accountability.
By the way, how accurate are these apps in your opinion or your expertise in terms of tracking someone's location?
I would say that a lot of these applications are tremendously accurate. I mean, they work off of satellites. And I just recently had to help my daughter find her phone using an app. And I was able to locate it literally within probably a dozen or so feet from where she left it. So these apps are very accurate. And if, for example, Nolan Wells was wearing some other form of smart technology, a smartwatch or something like that, they could certainly show the distance of Nolan Wells from his phone during the course of that day.
It's good to have a detective father. Nothing gets lost. Nothing falls through the cracks. It's pretty cool. All right. We put that to the side. Again, I want to start with that because that just came out. But even before that came out, when we asked for you to be on the show, there was something else that we had to address. This video. This is big. Because a big question, as we've always talked about in this case, did Nolan Wells stay on Horn Island to talk to a young woman? Did he not go back on the boat? Did he not go back to the mainland? Did he not go back on the boat with the friends, right? Well, there is this. So this, what you're seeing, is new video that was reportedly obtained by Officer Tatum, right? Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum show. And he has been, by the way, challenging the narrative that race automatically played a role in what happened to Nolan. But in this video, you see who would appear to be Nolan's friends on the boat, and there is no sign of Nolan. Now, we believe that this is at a critical time. Reminder, this is when the boat was apparently having issues. It was taking on water. We're going to get into it a little bit more because there's audio that I think is really relevant here as well. And they needed a tow. Again, we'll get into that, how that happened. But when you look at this video, by all accounts, there's no sign of Nolan Wells in this video. And as TMZ reports, this would be consistent with their reporting. Their sources saying that authorities believe Nolan stayed on Horn Island, citing 2 witnesses that apparently told investigators they saw Nolan on the island after the boat left. This is consistent with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources Police report obtained by ABC News that claims Nolan's friends told authorities, quote, that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain at the island. Matt, it's this video I think is quite pivotal, very important.
I would agree. I mean, the video seems to show that Nolan was not on the boat. Now, the exact timing of things is something that people will have to dig deeply into. The timing of that video alongside the distress call that was made to the tow company, all of those things are going to be an important part of the investigation. But at least at face value, at first glance, this video does seem to support the contention that Nolan did not get on that boat with his friends.
Does this mean it exonerates everyone on that boat? Does this mean if something happened to Nolan, it had to have happened on Horn Island?
Well, you're asking 2 questions. It would certainly suggest that if something happened to Nolan, it happened on Horn Island, or at least did not happen on that boat. That doesn't necessarily mean that the people on the boat are exonerated. Whatever happened to Nolan could have happened with or without their involvement or knowledge somewhere other at some other time. But it certainly does seem to support their statements, again, at first glance, at face value.
But this helps the investigation because now, in potentially looking at, now we have to look at the mainland, we have to look at what happened after a certain period of time. They can limit the area. They can look more specifically at an area to determine what happened to Nolan Wells, right? Because when this first happened, there was a conversation, did Nolan get back in the boat, go to the mainland? Something happened to him. They put him back on the boat, throw his body into the water. I'm not saying that was a legitimate theory, but that was something that was coming up. If you're not seeing him on the boat at that point, this, in a way, I believe would help investigators, right? Narrow down what they have to focus on.
It certainly provides some direction to the investigation. I think, again, just knowing what's publicly reported, it seems like it's premature to eliminate anything at this point, but it can at least shift the focus. At this point, it sounds like, from what law enforcement is reporting, that they have spoken to people that claim to have seen Nolan Wells on the island alive after his friend's boat left. Now, there's still some question about who those people are and how they know it was Nolan. Are these people that actually know him, or are these people that just saw a tall black man and, particularly with all the reporting, assumed it was Nolan? So there's still a lot of unanswered questions there. But assuming there are people that saw him alive on the island after his friends left, that would tend to shift the focus of the investigation to try to figure out what happened to this young man after about 4:15 in the afternoon. And who saw him alive last? I mean, that's going to
My bad, y'all. I'm smiling because I'm looking at something that has nothing to do with this.
be
But I'm planning
possibly one of the most critical witnesses in this case.
Yeah, that becomes
is
really
unbiased.
interesting, right? Like the idea of whatever
giving y'all
happened to
everything.
Nolan,
Every
no one saw
digital
anything.
spectrum.
Even if he accidentally drowned, no one saw him. No one tried to help him out. That's a fair point. That's a fair question, and it does make me wonder. Do you believe, before we talk about the audio in a minute, do you believe that law enforcement may know more, a lot more, than they are telling right now? Do you believe that they have some potential witnesses who have provided more information about the last whereabouts of Nolan Wells and they just haven't shared that information yet?
I would expect that to be the case. I would certainly hope it was the case. Again, there seems to be some reporting that they are claiming to have spoken to 60 or so people. Obviously, all of those statements are not in the public record at this time.
Yeah.
There's also mention of this case going before a grand jury, which is, I guess, procedure in this part of Mississippi. And if you're going to bring a case to the grand jury, you want the grand jury to hear that evidence for the first time in the grand jury room and not have it tainted by prior disclosure.
I just played video. Now let's go to audio. Take a look.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So yeah, we've talked about this before.
What happened to the first part of the call, my guy? Even with the background noise, you should have just played it. It's still part of the full audio. Why you just give us that little snippet right there? I see you might be getting paid, boy. I knew so. It was something about that look I didn't like in your face, my guy.
Right. This audio that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. This is giving us a glimpse into what happened that day. It's giving us a glimpse into this chaotic event on the water on July 4th, because this is one of the first pieces of audio that we're hearing from that day that captures the frantic moments that this boat that was connected to this group began taking on water. It was due to reported failing bilge pump. And this is a boat that we believe that at some point Nolan was on. But you compare that with the video that we just talked about, it doesn't appear that he was on it at that time. So they call for a tow. And interestingly, the way that we understand it based on the reporting, it's actually been reported that another boat actually ended up helping them out. Another boat that was anchored there wasn't a private towing company. And according to reporting, Nolan's friends said they left Horn Island at 4:30. Someone told them apparently they saw Nolan on Horn Island at 6 p.m. There were accounts, by the way, from friends that the last time they saw him was 3 p.m. But this is what we need to talk about, this audio development. So there is a theory that has come out when this video came in, this audio came out. There was a new version of the audio that was enhanced by TMZ. When you listen to it, there are theories, there are people out there who believe you can hear in the background someone saying, "Is he dead? Nolan, wake up.
That part?
Check his chest." I spoke with a forensic audio expert, Robert Freed, on my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live. Compared both versions. So compared the version that was obtained from the WFAB website and one from TMZ. And he said the newly enhanced audio from TMZ was longer than the other one. He created transcriptions of both videos. And here's what he found. In those transcripts, from your analysis, does anyone say, "Is he dead? Check his chest. Nolan, wake up"? Anything like that?
No. It's very...
I was going to say, I knew his answer before he was about to say it, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Let's
very distorted. Even if you hear it from the original to even the audio enhancement, it's still very difficult for some of the software that we use to even pick up those types of words. And there was nothing like that close to it in the transcriptions that we saw.
Now, he did say that he would want the audio.
How come you didn't ask him what did he hear then? Oh, okay.
From the original source, right? The source I am assuming authorities have, because he said there was redactions. So he was curious how the audio was generated. And even in this video, you hear redactions. And I made the point to him that if there's a redaction of, let's say, personal information, a phone number, as that redaction's happening, you might hear something in the background. And so, account numbers, things like that were shared. So he wants the original video. He wants to look at the metadata. Matt, what do you take away from this?
So I've listened to the original video, at least as it's been played on various media sites, and I have listened to the enhanced one. And quite frankly, I can hear commotion in the background. I can make out a few words, including some curse words and something like, "Oh my God." I can't say one way or the other whether the things some people believe they are hearing are being said or not. It's very distorted. I do appreciate that people are making an effort to try to kind of literally cut through the noise and find out what's going on in the background. But I think it is just, we don't have enough information. At least I don't feel I have enough information based on publicly available recordings to know what's being said in the background.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess the question is, would it make sense to you that if someone's making a call for an emergency help, they would make it two things. One, if Nolan was having some sort of emergency or was in trouble, wouldn't that be relayed on the dispatch? Unless there are those out there who say, hey, the people on board were responsible. If that's the case, why would you make a call while this is going in the background? You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I see what you're saying. So it is not unusual when people are staging a crime scene, covering up a crime, to make a 911 call as part of that crime scene staging. But that
hold on. He said it is not uncommon to do what? Let's play it back.
When people are staging a crime scene, covering up a crime, to make a 911 call as part of that crime scene staging. But that happens in cases that are usually premeditated murders, and it's a very cold-blooded, calculated sort of thing to do. We are talking about a half dozen or so, 19 or so aged men. I don't get the sense that there's a tremendous amount of criminal sophistication or cold-heartedness in this group, at least in terms of what's been reported. It would be very surprising to me that they would deliberately stage a distress call to cover up some crime. It would be even more surprising to me that they would choose to make a recorded phone call while something was going on in the background connected to some kind of foul play that was happening or had just occurred. And then the last thing I would say about that is if this is some kind of conspiracy in which 7 or so people know that some foul play happened to Nolan Wells and one or more of them was involved in it, it seems very unlikely to me that those folks could maintain that conspiracy of silence for coming up on a month now. I mean, even among sophisticated, hardcore, organized criminal groups, the more people you have involved in a conspiracy, the more likely it is that somebody's going to talk. And these do not seem to be that kind of organized.
But how will we know if anyone's talking? Because nobody's saying anything. The grand jury is supposed to see all the information. So how will we know if anybody's cooperating or anybody's been cooperating or what's going on? We don't know anything. We don't.
Hardcore criminal group. I just would be very surprised that a conspiracy of silence to cover up some foul play done to Nolan would persist as long as it has. And certainly if it did, it couldn't for much longer.
I have to highlight another development. So it has been reported by outlets like ABC that according to a document that was sent out seemingly on July 5th with preliminary information from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, witnesses that day told authorities that Nolan had been drinking heavily with friends on Horn Island. Now, this is their account. We don't know if this is true, but it was part of a report that happened quite close in time to what was going on with looking for Nolan Wells.
How come that didn't come out at first if he was heavily drinking? And was he the only person drinking? I think not. But okay, continue the smear campaign. The victim blaming, right?
What do we make of that? How does that fit into the investigation?
Well, I think we need to be careful with those kinds of statements. Certainly being intoxicated increases the risk that somebody is going to come to harm. It's just harder to take care of yourself if you're heavily intoxicated. But I would want to know who these witnesses are and how they came to that conclusion. Are they seeing him acting in a way that suggests intoxication? Are they seeing him consume large quantities of alcohol, right in front of them? Do we even know for certain that the allegedly intoxicated person they're describing is Nolan Wells? So there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we really want to be careful about anything that smacks of victim blaming. The fact is, I would expect on a July 4th weekend out on Horn Island, there were a lot of young people consuming an awful lot of alcohol, and every other one of those young people made it home safe.
Yeah, we're waiting for the results of the toxicology reports, right?
Let's drop a bomb for this goddamn guy, baby. Because let's hear it again.
On a July 4th weekend out on Horn Island, there were a lot of young people consuming an awful lot of alcohol, and every other one of those young people made it home safe.
Yeah, we're waiting for the results of the toxicology reports, right? This independent autopsy, as we reported, was limited by the condition of the body that was handed to this examiner. We've talked about before how the state medical examiner seems to have retained certain portions of the neck or throat, possibly for further examination, possibly for trauma, drowning. But the toxicology is going to be key, right? That I wonder, what is that going to tell us?
Well, the toxicology may tell us what substances Nolan Wells had on board. It still really doesn't answer the question of why this young man lost his life. It's information, but it's not an answer.
One of the difficulties is when you're dealing with drowning, it can be very hard. If that's what the situation is, it can be very hard to know what the circumstances were. Was someone pushed in? Were they intoxicated? Did you push them in? If you hold someone down, maybe there's some sort of physical evidence left behind. Decomposition complicates it as well. So this is a tough one. Look, we'll see where it progresses. I just want the family to get answers. I really do. I want them to have a sense of closure in this one way or another, see how this progresses. I'm going to stay on top of it. Matt Irvine, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. See you next.
Well, there you have it, folks. Two sides of the aisle. And then one guy he brought on there to kind of, say exactly what he thought he wanted him to say and then say this, say that. But he didn't agree too much with what he was saying, but he was staying on the line, saying things that we all know, putting factual information out there that is true about America and our society. Now, we know all these companies, especially TMZ and everybody, saying Nolan Wells had alcohol in his system. He was drinking heavily. We get that. All them little boys on that island are drinking heavily. I think if I'm celebrating 4th of July with my homies, and yeah, we underage, but we got a boat, we living our best lives this weekend, what? I might have me a drink or two, regardless of my age. Come on now. They teenage boys. Right? But our bedroom lawyer, she just reported back in, and she said she ain't going down without a fight. So if you saw earlier, Bart and them trying to sue her, but she ain't going. Hold on, my friends.
Let me tell you how it's going to go. Come here. Let me put my glasses on. All right.
Let me put my glasses on.
I am poor. I have nothing. I don't own anything. You can't put a lien on property. I have nothing. Okay. So you're going to first have to prove that what I'm saying is false. Okay. Then it's going to cost you so much money. I got free lawyers. You know how many lawyers have been hitting me up, like begging to take the case because they know the publicity. Here's what you don't understand. You suing me. Oh, that makes everybody feel bad for me. And guess what? People want to pay me when that happens, baby. And I'm poor. So, okay, worst case scenario, you sue me, you win. Let's say you win. What you going to do? You can't get blood from a fucking rock, dog. What are you going to do? Okay, I'll claim bankruptcy. Maybe I claim bankruptcy, like 4 or 5 times, and I could be president one day. Okay, that's how it's going to work. So do what you got to do. You want to sue me? Let me.
Oh, our bedroom lawyer ain't playing. She said, "Hey, Bart, go on here, sue her. Hey, Bart, but I said allegedly on everything. I promise you, I'm just out here just reporting everybody. I ain't blame Bart. We only said Bart name a few times on here. Bart, I don't want no smoke. I don't even Bart who? Who? I thought his name was Bobby. We got it mixed up, didn't we? Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, it's Bobby we talk about, right? I don't know why B-A-R-T. That's how the name was. Nah, I thought it was Bobby. It's Bobby. Yeah. You got me, Bart. Come on. But anyway, I knew she wasn't gonna go down like that. She ain't going out like that. So our bedroom lawyer is still intact. She's still in good spirits. So hey, I ain't tripping. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at all. I ain't mad at all. But yeah. Should I play one more video? All right, real quick, because we know, Bobby people trying to, pay off some people. So in the meantime, while they're paying off people, let's get to another take from one of our good friends.
Trying to paint a narrative for the opposition. TMZ, the people could rely on you guys for your investigative reporting. Now TMZ has turned into those old school tabloids, just reporting anything anybody says without doing your own research. Thumbs down for you guys. TMZ is owned by Fox. Crap journalism is a feature, not a bug. Bread and circus. Just wanted to show y'all that it's not only us, but TMZ's own readers don't even like TMZ. But let's go on to the email. Here you'll see here an email exchange between the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and the U.S. Coast Guard received by ABC News describing Nolan's alcohol intake as heavy. This information comes from witnesses who made the initial call to DMR. The toxicology report, along with the state's autopsy, are not expected to be released until they are presented to a grand jury. And you'll see the email here. It says, good evening. As part of our response to MSDMR request SAR data related to the missing person, Nolan Wells, the MDMR will use this data to start scanning the area. While information is still limited, we request the following be used for the data. You'll see here it says date July the 4th. This DMZ want to run with. If y'all cannot smell the corruption cooking in the air, then I just don't know. Something might be wrong with y'all nose. And if something is wrong with y'all nose, I'm going to cook up something that has such a smell and an odor.
Get to the
not
point.
only
Get to
working
the
with
point. Get to the
TMZ,
point. We don't got
they're
all day.
also working to drag down Janetta, the Black woman that first put out the enhanced audio from the CETO dispatch call. You'll see here.
Yeah, we got it. We got into all that, but we appreciate your one slight take. All right, that's all I needed from my audience. I appreciate you. God bless you. Now I got some breaking news. Yes, breaking news here. We getting the exclusive, and let me tell you, this case just took a turn for his goddamn head because these folks are now doing goddamn anything since the audio came out. You done had weeks. Tyler Perry put up money. L Sharpton put up money. Why all of a sudden you putting up money now? Nolan Wells' friend's dad offers $50,000 reward for info. They think we boo-boo the fool. Oh no, y'all done had how long? TMZ reports. They literally just put this out. Literally this earlier this hour. TMZ reporting that Warren's dad, Nolan's friend, is putting the 50. Hey, Nolan, hey, your friends got money like that. They putting up $50,000 rewards and whatnot. Oh yeah, I forgot he's a doctor. Y'all feeling that pressure, huh, baby? Now you want to say, well, how can it be us? We wanted the truth. We even gave reward money to get to the truth. Boy, y'all cooking up something behind the scenes, baby. Ooh, 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 ooh. And why would you be putting up money if y'all, think nothing really happened to him or suspected nothing? Yeah. That is a whole twist and a half, ain't it? Warren's dad offering a $50,000 reward. Holy shit. This case is going to definitely take an interesting turn, let me tell you. But how come you didn't offer that same reward when Al Sharpton said he was putting up money, Terrell Owens said he was putting up money, Tyler Perry said he was putting up money? All these people, it was kind of like everybody. You put up some money. You put up some money. How come you didn't put up no money then? How come you just now putting up money after the audio has been released and there's more and more evidence coming out against your son? Now you want to offer some reward money. You try to turn the narrative on his head. So that way this can be news. Y'all think y'all slick, bruh. We'll appreciate it though. We'll appreciate it. But dog. Yeah. I'm waiting for somebody else to report on this because I find this highly, highly interesting, my friends. Because now all of a sudden, y'all want to put up award money out the blue, unsolicited. This is interesting, bruh. That is very interesting. The fact that they trying to take the attention off of the audio, take the attention off of everything else that we've learned about this case. The fact that they trying to aggressively do that says a lot. But dog. They feeling the pressure. But Ben Crump already didn't put up their money. How come you didn't put it up there? But last take of the day, let's listen to what my man Gramps got to say. What you got to say, Gramps?
I saw it coming, and I'm not the only one because this is as old as the United States. It's this right here. I made this post about Nolan Wells a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sorry I misspelled his first name there. And I said, this is the pattern. Recognize the pattern. What happens when there's a mysterious death of a black person?
Oh, it's already up. The script that will be as follows. The first thing the police will say will be a lie. Media will repeat the lie. It was a drowning and it was no foul play suspected. Police will say person caused their own passing. That's what they're saying now. And now he's being villainized, saying he had cocaine in the system and liquor. But let him explain it.
Public, whether it's with a group of friends on a boat or by law enforcement. This is what happens. First of all, the first thing the police say will be a lie. And then the media will repeat that lie verbatim. And then the police will eventually say the person caused their own passing somehow. It was their own fault. And then the victim, the black victim, is going to be villainized. These things happen. It's usually that order. It could be changed up a little bit, but basically that's it. And I was thinking that again because of this. There's TMZ, the rag TMZ, doing what they do. He was drinking heavily. You see, this is an attempt to not only victimize him, but somehow blame him for his own death. But it does another thing. It absolves all the other people that were with him. That's what they're insinuating very strongly, that the people that murdered him, that allegedly murdered him, have no responsibility because he was drinking. And that's probably why he drowned. And they didn't want to be with him because maybe he was obnoxious. Maybe he was a violent drunk and he just stayed behind and was causing ruckus and he drowned because he can't swim. You know, black people can't swim. See, all that is in that. All of it's there. And you know that's a right-wing rag that just will do what they do, but they're not the only ones because this has been picked up by all the other media. They're all right-wing as well, despite what people think. They're all right-wing. And they just run with it. It starts to infect the population and it changes the narrative. But when there's a family annihilator, you don't get that. You get happy, smiling faces and empathy and sympathy and an attempt to understand. We know he was a cheater, but look how happy they were. And as a side note, stop letting these people adopt interracially, because this happens far too often. That needs to be talked about. Or this guy, QAnon. He's nearly incomprehensible. None of them are experiencing emotions. You know why? Because they're all DAD. That's why. But look at the happy, smiling faces. It's an attempt to reinforce the nuclear family and how this is idealized. It's never a mug. It's rarely a mugshot, anything like that. They're not going to show all that. But when it's a black person, they're going to follow this and going to do what TMZ is doing here. And that's why there's been a big effort by many people, especially black people, especially his family and people surrounding them, to put out a more accurate narrative, to get out photos of him showing the beauty of his life and who he was.
And they've been doing that. But now the smear campaign, let me stop you there, my guy, my old soul. That's up to you, my guy. We appreciate it. But now we're seeing the smear campaign is coming even more fierce now because that audio came out. And when that audio gets broken down by the police officers and the private investigators, the real audio is going to reveal the same thing that we were hearing. So ain't no running from it. Ain't no running from it. So Warren, your dad putting up a $50,000 award. Yeah. Some would say that's ironic timing. Very ironic timing. But yeah. We gonna see, dog. We gonna see how all this shakes up. But the one thing that I hope stops is a victim blaming. If you had cocaine in the system, who cares? If you had heavy alcohol in the system or he drank a lot, who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, he lost his life. He shouldn't be blamed for anything. It shouldn't even matter that he had alcohol in the system. Now, with that being said, folks, I think we got to the bottom of a lot of different things, a lot of different narratives. I think we heard enough today on this Nolan Wells case. But like I said, we will continue to cover it. We're going to continue to talk about it until hopefully justice is eventually brought forward. But Warren, your pops ain't slick, and y'all not slick. Interesting, though, how all of a sudden that $50,000 reward come out when everybody was putting up their award money earlier, a little minute ago, a long time ago. Now all of a sudden, y'all offering award money? After the audio that came up, after the pokes in y'all stories, the things in y'all stories are being poked through and prodded. After everybody coming along and smelling the lies from a mile away. Yeah. Y'all ain't slick, bro. But we shall see. I'm not on either side of the aisle. But I wasn't born yesterday. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see how the cookie crumbles in this case, in this investigation. But I promise you, regardless of either way, we will hopefully eventually get justice for Nolan Wells. Yeah, dog. Yeah. Now, regardless, I hope y'all all had a great day. I hope y'all staying blessed out here. At the end of the day, man, we got to end on a positive note, right? Let's end on a positive note. D.L. Hooley, what you got to say, my guy?
This is Brandon Tate.
Did y'all just see what unfunny ex-comedian D.L. Hughley just said about me? Posted a picture of me and my wife. To do what? To be a racist? You are the lamest dude in all of comedy.
What is more lame than calling yourself the job you used to have? You're not an officer anymore. You were a football player who failed at being a football player. You didn't make the team, so you became an officer. That wasn't working out, so you became an influencer. You talked about emotion. What is more emotional than this?
The word.
You cried for a white dude who the people didn't even think you worthy to speak at his funeral. You said you wouldn't cry for your son, but you cried for him.
He talking about Christian Kirk. He cried over Christian Kirk.
That's not emotion.
That's not.
You talked of the way Benjamin Crump talks.
Just want to blame white folks. And so I go out there because I know that lame Al Sharpton and Mr. I can't read Benjamin Crump is just race hustling, y'all.
You talked about how those boys are innocent. You had proof. Now, I don't know whether they're innocent or not. I don't know what happened there. But I know one conversation with a failed football player and a social media influencer is not the predicate. You don't have any toxicology report. You don't have an autopsy report. You talked about black people acting a fool. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that took 31 years and 3 trials to prosecute and find guilty the murder of Medgar Evers. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that in 2005 found 215 black people that were dead and buried in a pauper's grave and nobody knew they were there. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that just killed a 1-year-old boy and nobody's being brought to account about. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that has been poisoning black people with the water since the 1960s. Black people didn't look for this fight. They want justice. All they want is accountability. And if it's those boys, it should be that. Nobody has a predetermined notion. I don't know what happened. But if you're saying that Al Sharpton and that Benjamin Crump are on one side, you're certainly on the other. You talk to them for 2 days and now all of a sudden you know if they're guilty. You know if they're innocent. You know that. Your name is, your moniker is Officer Tatum, not Detective Tatum. You didn't make your way to detective. You're an influencer who says what white people want you to say. And don't you find it interesting that they chose to speak to you, and they chose to speak to you for the same reason that you're a conservative, for the same reason Turning Point did, because you're safe. They know you're a black man who'll do what he's told. You're an unremarkable black man who they know they can count on to be obedient. They pick you for the same reason they pick dogs. What is very interesting to me is this is Nancy Grace.
I left to believe that he goes out swimming all on his own and the friend girl leaves, the mates from school leave, everybody just leaves him out in the water and he dies.
Now, Nancy Grace is a career prosecutor. She has tried 100 felony trials, 100, and not lost one. And she thinks that's something suspicious. But the social media influencer who failed at football and was a mediocre cop all of a sudden knows more than that. I don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. But I do know this. You said that a young woman with a pot of water acted so suspiciously that she should be shot by cops.
I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified. You can't throw boiling water on a police officer and not get shot.
Bro, what he said? Oh. I damn near cried when I watched that video of that woman in that house with that boiling water, and she ain't did nothing, but he shot her dead in the face. He literally told her, I'm going to shoot you in the face. And you said that she deserved it? Yeah, fuck you, Officer Tatum. Or former Officer Tatum. Brandon Tatum. Whatever the hell your name is. You. Excuse my French, y'all, but wow. I didn't even know you said that. Let's continue.
But you don't think people that were on a boat with somebody in proximity to somebody and that person comes that day acting so suspicious they should be questioned? That's who you are. Debate you for what? What you are is what the people before you, you're Diamond and Silk, you're Candace Owens, you're Stacey Dash, you're that. And your career will age like avocados because that's what they do. There'll be somebody else that replaces you. I've been around for 40 years doing what I do, and you still know my name. You know how I got to know yours? Somebody sent me a coon alert. They said, and you fit the bill. I don't know who you are, but I know what you are. I know what you do because I've seen people like you in my entire life. You can assail my career, but my career is longer than your life. You mentioned my name, and I have no idea who you are. But I do know this, that one day, when all of this is done, and it'll be after the next election cycle, when people are wondering who you are, when you go the way of the Larry Elders, of the Sheriff Clarks, or the Candace Owens or the Diamond and Silks or the Stacey Dashes or the Armstrong, like all of them, when you're there with them and you're wondering what happened, it's because you sold your soul for nothing.
Let me just say this, and I know people gonna clip this and get that, and I don't care. I really feel this way. I'm getting sick of black people, right?
And we're gonna end it right there. Fucking can't make this shit up. Nolan Wells, we will get justice for you. Until then, I'll see y'all later. SO to DL Who.